and welcome to our August 18th zoning meeting. We will begin with introductions, and we'll start with the clerk.
Ariel Smith, lead city clerk.
Good evening, everyone. James Mitchell, City Council at Large.
Allison Craig, Deputy City Manager.
Dante Anderson, Mayor Pro Tem, District 1.
Malcolm Graham, District 2.
Ed Driggs, District 7.
Edwin Peacock, District 6.
Good evening, Luana Mayfield, council member at large.
Terry Hagler-Gray, Senior Assistant City Attorney.
Excellent. So we began our meeting with an invocation as an expression and inspiration, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation by a council member is intended to underscore our proceedings. We celebrate the religious diversity of our community, including those without a religious faith. This evening, Councilmember Mitchell will provide our invocation.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Could we all stand, please? Bow our heads, please. Oh, wise and gracious Father, we thank you for another day of blessing. Heavenly Father, we ask that your spirit would be with the city council and the city staff and all the citizens that call Charlotte home. We ask that your spirit will continue to guide us and move us and work with our citizens, work with our corporation, work with our staff. Heavenly Father, this is your city, City of Charlotte. We ask that all the will we do will be a blessing unto you. Let all believers say, amen.
Amen.
Why y'all said that?
So,
Why you said that?
so this evening, we have a special treat.
We're not saying the Pledge of Allegiance
are.
first? Oh, we're gonna let them do it?
We have a special treat. The Boy Scout Troop 8 from St. Matthew's Catholic Church will come down and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I believe you all have had a tour of the facility, so come on down and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Be careful. Be careful. You can come right around the,
All the way around. Form a
come right
horseshoe.
around the ribbon there.
Right here, right in front of us.
Yes.
So you're facing the flag, which is there, right? And just make sort of a line along the curve here of the dais. That looks good. Now you got to face the flag.
Face the flag here, and if we can have our leader, who's your leader? Okay, and you can start us off, and then we'll join in.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome.
Good job, guys.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you. Great job. Thank you all. Okay, so after that wonderful Pledge of Allegiance, I am going to go ahead and explain our zoning process. And our process begins with applications submitted to our planning staff for review. There are two types of items on the agenda. We have decisions and we have hearings. Decisions on cases for which a public hearing was previously held, and there will be no further comment this evening on decisions. For hearings, anyone wishing to speak is asked to see the clerk right here on the end before the start of that particular hearing. Staff presentations will have no time limit, and the petitioner, that is the individuals that are in favor of the petition, will get 3 minutes combined to present their case unless one of two options exists. One, if there is opposition, sign up to speak, or if staff is in opposition, the petitioner will receive 10 minutes. The opponent will receive 10 minutes, and then the petitioner will receive 2 minutes as a rebuttal. If no one is opposed or signed up to speak, staff will go ahead with their short presentation, and then the public hearing will be closed and we'll move on to the next one. The petitions go to our Zoning Committee of Planning Commission for review and for recommendation. And I'm going to pass it over this evening to Vice Chair Melissa Gaston, who will introduce her committee. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and the City Council. My name is Melissa Gaston, and I'm the Vice Chair for the Zoning Committee of the Planning Commission. Allow me to introduce my fellow members. I have here Carolyn Millen, Robin Stewart, Aaron Shaw, Teresa McDonald, Michael Capriola, Aaron's not here yet, but she will be here. And Douglas Welton is gallivanting around the world. He is he's the chair of the Planning Commission, so he's not here this evening. The Zoning Committee will meet on Wednesday, September 6th at 5:30 p.m. At that meeting, the Zoning Committee will meet to discuss and make recommendations of the petitions that have public hearings tonight. The public is welcome at the meeting, but please note it is not a continuation of the public hearing that is being held tonight. Prior to that meeting, you are welcome to contact us to provide input. You can find contact information and information on each petition at the city's website at charlotteplanning.org. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And so we would typically go on to our deferrals and withdrawals, but this evening we have no deferrals or withdrawals, which is a rare occasion. So we will go ahead and move forward with the decision portion of our agenda. And we begin with the consent agenda items. Rezoning petition items 3 and 4 may be considered in one motion, except for those items pulled by a council member. Please note that these petitions met the following criteria. They had no public opposition at the petition hearing. Staff recommends approval, and the zoning committee recommends approval, and there are no changes after the zoning committee's recommendation. Are there any consent agenda items council would like to pull for a question or comment or a separate vote? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the following petitions and to adopt the zoning committee's statement of consistency for each of these petitions as they appear in our agenda as council's own? All right, we have agenda item 3, petition number 2025-037, and agenda item 4, petition 2025-038. I had a motion.
Second.
There is a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you. And welcome, Ms. Ashmira. Ms. Ashmira has joined us this evening. So we will move on to the non-consent agenda decisions. And we will start with agenda item number 5. Agenda item number 5. Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 5 and adopt the zoning committee's committee statement of consistency as it appears in our agenda and on the screen as council's own?
So moved.
Second.
All right. There's a motion and second. Any discussion? Mr. Mitchell.
Kudos to Councilman Graham for getting something accomplished that I could not do in 14 years, been a District 2 representative. This has been a long time coming. Thank you so much for Dream Keys, for working with the stakeholders in there. We had a long-running feud, Councilman, with one of the property owners, Paul, and so finally, I'm glad now we got a partnership and look forward to the new development. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
I've been to the site a number of times.
Excellent. Any additional comment? Hearing none, all in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. We will move on to agenda item number 6. Is there a motion to approve petition item, agenda item number 6 and adopt the zoning committee's statement of consistency as it appears in our agenda as council's own?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay. Any comment? Hearing none, all in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. We will move on to agenda item number 7. And agenda item number 7 did have some changes after the zoning committee's vote. Mr. Pettin, I will pass it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This petition did have a few changes following the zoning committee recommendation. They resolved outstanding issues regarding amenitizing and accessing the open space. They also committed to a 15-foot wide Class C landscape yard along the western boundary of the site where it abuts NS zoning, which is the backside of the shopping center that's just adjacent to this project. Both changes staff believes are minor and do not warrant additional review by the zoning committee. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion that changes should not go back to zoning committee?
So move.
Second.
Excellent. Any comment? Hearing none. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? Ms. Mayfield is in opposition. Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 7 and adopt the zoning committee statement of consistency as it appears in our agenda as council's own?
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? Ms. Mayfield is in opposition. We will move on to agenda item number 8, which also has changes after the zoning committee meeting. Mr. Pettin, please.
Yes, thank you. 2025-015 by Wilkes Asset Management did make some changes, as mentioned. The changes were an increase in the number of visitor parking spaces from 10 spaces to 12. They did prohibit vinyl as a siding material for the homes and also modified a driveway on Mount Holly Road per NCDOT requirements. Staff believe the changes are minor and, again, do not warrant additional review by the zoning committee. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion to not send back to zoning committee?
So move.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 8 and adopt the zoning committee's statement of consistency as our own?
So move.
Second.
There is a motion and second. Any discussion? Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Let me take this opportunity to thank the team, the development team, as well as those that represent the Mountain Island Lake community for really coming together and collaborating on not only this petition that's in front of us, but also a wide variety of issues related to growth and development in the Mountain Island Lake community. They're very engaged, as they should be, and they made a lot of compromise, as they should, to get this to the finish line. There were 2 points that I wanted to mention. One in particular was, again, we wish we were able to get more home ownership versus rental properties through this petition, but we were not able to, and that continues to be a problem for many of the residents in the Mountain Island Lake area in terms of preferring home ownership versus rental. They're saturated with apartments for sure. And then secondly, what continues to be a thorn in everyone's side is the construction, the maintenance, and the upkeep of state-owned roads that really hamper our ability to apply some smart growth practices based on the inability to have any major discussions with the state of North Carolina in reference to road construction and improvement that's in the short term, not in the long term. There is a plan. It's about 20 years out, and that serves no one any good. I'm also concerned, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, that as we begin to talk about transit, certainly after September 10th, there'll be a lot of talk about transportation and transit, for sure. And the state put some restrictions in reference to the city not supplanting our funds now for transportation, that the state will do the same as well, which is to continue to invest and accelerate their funding of state-owned roads, certainly in Mountain Island Lake. I think Steel Creek is another example where they are delaying the renovation or expansion of state-owned roads that's causing bottlenecks. Those are two fast-growing areas of the city. Certainly, we are applying smart growth practices and improving some of these rezonings, such as this one. But certainly, long-term, I think we really need to have a discussion with our state partners about how can we accelerate state-owned roads that are in need of expanding in the short term and not the long term. We can't wait 20 years or 15 years for the state to come and help us out, nor should we plant our local dollars to invest in the maintenance of state-owned roads in the short term or the near-term future. I think this continues and will be a point of concern for me. I spoke with the assistant city manager before the meeting, made some suggestions, and we'll talk more about that offline. But I think we really need to have a focused strategy about how we communicate and coordinate with the state of North Carolina in reference to their responsibilities in conjunction to what we're trying to do here locally with our own local dollars. So I move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. I agree. We have quite a few state-owned roads throughout the entire city that need attention, so I absolutely agree. Any additional comment? Hearing none, we're on agenda item number 8. Hearing no additional comment, all in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? Ms. Mayfield is in opposition. And we will move on to agenda item number 9. Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 9?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. And adopt the zoning statement of consistency as our own. We have a motion and a second. Any comment? Hearing none, all in favor raise hands. Any opposed? Ms. Mayfield is in opposition. And that takes us to agenda item number 10. Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 10 and adopt the zoning committee's
Second.
statement of consistency? Thank you. I have a motion and second. Any comment? Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I want to piggyback off what Councilmember Graham talked about in working with the state on these state-owned roads. District 4 has an inordinate amount of state-owned roads. This is actually in the ETJ, but I want to speak on this petition specifically. This petition is going to actually add to traffic improvements. It's going to extend an internal street network that runs parallel to Mount Holly Huntersville Road. So it's going to provide an alternative connection. This is an improvement over what can be done by right. The Phase 3, it's 65 units, I believe, and it's going to be consistent with the Phase 1 and 2 units or phases of the Oak Lake development. So I will be supporting this because, again, this is an improvement to the area. It's an improvement over what can be done by right, and that traffic improvement just addresses the challenges that we've been talking about on this road. So I move to approve.
Thank you. Any additional comment? Hearing none, all in favor raise hands. Any opposed? Ms. Mayfield is in opposition, and that takes us to agenda item number 11. Is there a motion to approve and adopt agenda item number 11 as it appears in our agenda?
So move.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. And that concludes our decision portion for the evening. We will go ahead and proceed to our hearings.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
could I just say to the leaders of our scouts, you're very welcome to stay, but you're also free to leave if you choose to. We won't take offense, so you decide how long you want to be here. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. And thank you all for coming out. That was lovely to have you here this evening. So we will begin with agenda item number 12. It is petition number 5027 by Mission City Church and Freedom Community. The location is approximately 4.77 acres located on Valleydale Road, north of Somerville Road, and south of Goodman Road in District 2, Mr. Graham's district. The current zoning is N1B and CG. Proposed zoning is N2A, CD. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation, environment, site, and building design. We do have opposition for this one. So after staff's presentation, we have Mr. Moore, Talbot, Staley, and Dillard, who are for the petition. You all will have 10 minutes in aggregate. And then we have Ms. Lammons, Ms. Bunn, as well as Mr. Jordan, Mr. Bunn, and Ms. Harvey. You all, after they're done, you all will have 10 minutes in aggregate as well, okay? So be ready to come down after their 10 minutes. Thank you, sir. Go right ahead.
All right, thank you. Petition 2025-027 is located off Valleydale Road. The site's approximately 4.76 acres, and it's currently undeveloped. The site's currently split zoned in 1B, Neighborhood 1B, and CG, General Commercial. Proposed zoning is into a CD, Neighborhood 2 Conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the Neighborhood 1 place type for this site. The N2 A district is inconsistent with the N1 place type, and this approval of this rezoning would revise the policy map to the Neighborhood 2 place type. Proposal calls for the development of up to 43 multifamily attached dwelling units or townhomes. The buildings are limited to no more than 4 units apiece. The number of buildings on site is limited to 12, and all units will be House Charlotte eligible and deed restricted for a minimum of 7 years to ensure affordability. Following streetscape and landscape improvements are proposed. Access to the site is proposed from a public street extension of Goodman Road. The petitioner will convey a 70-foot greenway easement to Mecklenburg County, 20-foot rear yard setback, and a 25-foot Class B landscape yard will be provided along all property boundaries abutting the Neighborhood 1 place type. Open space will be amenitized and will exceed the requirements of the UDO. A minimum 20 street trees will be provided along the private alleys. The following architectural requirements are proposed. All buildings are limited to 3 stories and 48 feet. Certain building materials such as corrugated metal siding and plain concrete masonry units are prohibited. Porches and stoops will be provided for each unit. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon a resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation, environment, and site and building design. As the plan limits building forms to quadruplexes, which is compatible with the Neighborhood 1 place type, all units will be House Charlotte eligible to ensure a degree of affordability. And the plan dedicates a greenway easement, and the site is served by transit. I'm happy to take any questions following Mr. Moore's presentation.
Thank you. Mr. Moore, you can begin, and if others will speak, just have them state their name before they speak. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson, council members, zoning committee, and staff. My name is Eddie Moore with McAdams. We are representing Pastor Kyle Dillard with Mission City Church and also Mark Talbot with Freedom Communities on this rezoning. And before we get into the site, we'll have both of them give a little bit of background on their input as part of this rezoning.
Good evening, folks. My name is Mark Talbot. I'm with Freedom Communities. I know many of you, and I'm excited about this project for 2 reasons. One is after we have the momentum at Dukes Ridge, which some of you are familiar with, we've had teachers move in, firefighters move in, social workers move in, and this one's going to be just more of the same. Right in the crosshairs of the Faith and Housing Initiative that you have started and you have pushed, we're excited to present this project tonight. I met Kyle several years ago as we've worked in the Freedom Drive corridor, and they had this extra land and said, what can we do with this to help the community? And through our partnership with True Homes, we're able to bring this together and come to the marketplace at an 80% AMI or less, which is pretty exciting to be able to provide that workforce housing for our community. We look forward to it. We look forward, Kyle's going to tell you, the housing classes, credit classes, encouragement for the process will be done right there from the church that's on the site. And then we can create community right there within the neighborhood. So we're excited about it. I think it fits right in the target of what I think you guys have wanted and what we've seen the community really needs. So thank you for your consideration. Kyle Dillard is the pastor of the Mission City Church who owns the land, and he can tell you a little bit more about what they're planning to do.
Yeah, thank you guys for allowing, I can't see with these on, can't see with them off, for allowing me to be here and partner with you guys. It's an honor to be here. It's my first one of these, so that's kind of exciting to be here. Our church, Mission City, has had this property that we have been praying over for many years, that God would use it in some way to serve the needs of the community around our church. Mission City over the last 10 years has been committed to serving our community in that way. We started a food pantry during the pandemic. When we started the food pantry, we had 145 families that we were serving every single week. We continue to do that today. It's entirely led by volunteers in the community, so it's neighbors serving their neighbors. We continue to serve people in need over and over and over. Many times, most of the people come in the community that we've been able to build around our food pantry has been less about the food and more about the encouragement and being able to be coming and pray for them for all the needs and things that are going in their life, the struggles in their life. So in the same way, we want to do this with this property in partnership with Freedom Communities and also True Homes to continue the heart that we had in providing people with these needs that they have with affordable living. We get weekly calls and emails about the property, but we have not been willing to sell just to the highest bidder because we don't believe that that would benefit the community. That's not what we're trying to do. We want to continue to serve and build up the community. So we're excited to see working families in our community who struggle to afford a home to be able to finally afford a place of their own, and we want to take that even further, not just in having them be able to have affordable housing, but also have programs at our church that we connect with Freedom Communities and financial classes and all these different things like that. We don't see this as just selling a property. We see it in the same way we do in our food pantry. The food is not the priority. Changing lives, encouraging people in their life and their faith, loving their neighbors. The way Jesus modeled that and the way he served others, that's what we want. So the property in its current form right now has some homeless people living on it, have come in and out. The neighborhood throws a lot of trash away on the property. Our church has been broken into 8 times in the past 10 years. I was on Channel 3 last year because someone parked in our parking lot and held up the Family Dollar at gunpoint. So we would like to see the property used for better things than that. That's what we're hopeful for. We'd like to see it slowly change, and we've seen the neighborhood in the past 10 years as we've been serving them slowly change for the better. That's what we want. Like I said, we don't intend to develop a piece of property. We want to develop a healthy community of people who can learn to serve one another as we intend to continue to give them the opportunity to do that, to serve one another, whether they choose to or not. Thank you.
Thank you. You have 5 minutes left.
Thank you, gentlemen. As was mentioned earlier, the True Homes Foundation, they will be the builder-developer. We were before you for the Cindy Creek Lane rezoning a few months ago, so they will be involved in building their product and also developing the property. Here's the site, just a couple of land uses. The Mission City Church, they own a couple pieces of property along Valleydale, the Family Dollar, the Express Mart, a multi-tenant commercial building. There's a Katz bus stop at this intersection, and then also another Katz bus stop at this location. The existing zoning is CG and N1B, so it has a mixture of zoning on the property. You kind of see the breakdown of those two zoning districts. And we are requesting N1A CD for 43 towns. The adopted 2040 policy map is on the right. It recommends neighborhood 1. The revised 2040 policy map recommends commercial. For the site, we feel that a neighborhood 2 would be a good transition between the commercial properties along Valleydale and then the remaining single family to the east. This is a rendered plan of the layout. Access will be off of Goodman Road. You can kind of see the extension that runs north and south. From there, at the southern portion, There will be a stub street that will be there for potential redevelopment of properties along Somerville Road. So should those properties redevelopment, there'll be an additional access point out to the property. We have, the site is a little constrained due to the odd configuration, and we also do have a stream buffer that is along the back, and that will be dedicated to Mecklenburg County. Kind of see how we've clustered the townhomes internal to the development, keeping it away from any of the neighbors. Do want to point out at the corner of Goodman and Goodman Road, the property that is located there is owned by Beth Lammons. She will be speaking here after us. We will continue to work with her. Her existing home is very close to the Goodman Road extension. It is about approximately 12 feet from the Goodman Road extension right away and about 17 feet away from the actual pavement. We have been in discussions with CDOT for curbing along the western side of the Goodman Road extension. There is no curbing that is existing today. So we're working with them. We've had some very good discussions with CDOT and the possibility of adding that for her, along with some other concessions such as screening and also potential new driveway onto Goodman Road. The one thing that's pretty interesting about the trip generation for this site is that under the existing current zoning with the CG and the N1B, you could have up to 970 daily trips per day for this site, and that is primarily driven by the CG zoning. Changing that to 43 townhomes and into ACD, that comes out to about 277 trips per day. So we're looking at about a 70% decrease or reduction in potential trips from what the property is zoned today and can be developed compared to what we are proposing. Wrapping everything up, we'll be conditioned for 43 townhomes. There's not a whole lot of townhomes that are in this area, so this will be a differing housing type. There is an affordable housing initiative, and these will be for sale units, and we will continue to work with the neighboring properties for some of the items that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. From there, be glad to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Can I have Mr. and Mrs. Budd and Ms. Lammons, as well as there's another gentleman, everyone who's in opposition, can you come down to this podium, please? Okay, excellent. The five of you have 10 minutes in aggregate, and if you could just speak your name before you begin speaking, that would be wonderful for the clerk. Begin, please.
Good evening, council members. I want to thank Councilman Graham for coming by the property a few weeks ago to take a look at it. That really meant a lot, and I do appreciate your time. My name is Beth Lammons, and I reside at 1122 Goodman Road. I purchased this property in 2020 so that my mother and I could live together during her last phases of life. After her passing in 2022, I have remained in the property and in the home, which holds great personal significance for me. My home is directly adjacent to the only proposed entrance for this new development being considered for rezoning. I'm here tonight to express specific concerns about how this rezoning and the associated changes could significantly affect my property and my quality of life. First, my house was built in 1957, and it sits just 12 feet from the side property line. That side of the house includes my bedroom. Under current building codes, if the home were built today, it would require at least a 13.5-foot setback. Now I've been informed by the developer that they intend to use the side of my property to widen the right-of-way, which would further reduce the already narrow side yard and bring the road even closer to my living space. Second, the increase in traffic from both construction and future homeowners would significantly raise noise levels in what has always been a quiet residential space. The existing right-of-way was never intended to support the volume of traffic that a large development would bring. Third, the proposed road widening would directly affect my driveway. I do not believe I should be forced to relocate my driveway as a consequence of this rezoning. Finally, and most importantly, I've yet to see any documentation confirming that the land in question, whether you call it a right-of-way, a driveway, a stub, or anything else, is a public right-of-way. When I moved in, the elderly residents had mentioned to me they were the ones that actually paved the road way back in 50s. I think Joyce knew the neighbors that had told her that. And as far as I understand it, it's only been used for myself and the other immediate neighbors. I respectfully ask the council to consider these impacts carefully before making a decision. I appreciate your time and your thoughtful consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. You have about 7.5 minutes left. Who's next?
Good afternoon. My name is Joyce Bunn. I've lived on Goodman Road close to 40 years. This rezoning to build 43 townhomes with 2-car garages with only one way in and out. The traffic will be very unsafe for the houses on Goodman Road. 3 houses will be affected the most. Beth, of course, my sister lives across the street. They will all lose part of their lawns, parking spaces, and their safety when trying to get out to go to work. I can't imagine a city bus coming down that way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You have 6.5 minutes left.
Hello, my name is Philip Bunn, and I oppose the rezoning of petition 2025-27. So I've been a resident here my entire life. The 36 years I've been on this earth, almost 37 I've lived here. This has been my home. A couple of issues that I see with this. Number one is the traffic on our road will increase if this rezoning is approved. This can and will affect not only the 3 houses, but everyone else who uses the road. Lanes will also need to be widened to accommodate traffic. So this means 3 homes will lose their property that they've had for as long, if not longer, than I've been there. So one home will also become uncomfortably close to a road with traffic, literally passing by within feet of the foundation as well. Goodman Road is already getting tight with traffic due to other neighborhood being attached to it as well. Adding another neighborhood and a road will only make things worse, especially with the overgrowth across the street that's growing over into the road, causing cars to have to ride down the middle of the road unless you want your car scratched up. We have issues out of that. The second issue I have is going to be litter in our area. We pick up more people and traffic if this rezoning is approved. More people, more traffic, more litter that we, the residents, do often have to pick up behind everybody, and it's not even ours. My third issue is going to be the noise. If this rezoning is also approved, not only will we deal with more traffic and litter, but some noise as well. Some of us have to wake up super early, so we have to go to bed early in the afternoon so we can get rest. And if we can't get rest, that's going to affect our quality of life. And I, for one, wake up. I'm up at 2:45. That's when my alarm goes off. I'm on the clock by 3:45 in the morning. And if there's a ton of traffic coming and going, it's going to be hard to get rest and hard to get sleep. I want to thank you for the time. That's all I got.
Thank you. You have about 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Step right on up.
Hi, my name is Bridget Harvey. I live at 804 Oak Street. I've been there for almost 30 years. My husband was born and raised there. His parents were born and raised there. I have watched this whole community develop in the last 20-plus years with 4 brand-new communities in there with over 1,000 homes. We're probably talking 1,500 homes. There's been no changes to infrastructure. There's not been any changes to being able to moderate the traffic through there, because if 16 gets backed up, trying to come to Charlotte, they come down Valleydale. So now you're going to add in even more. You make this one change, now there's going to be more changes, but there's no infrastructure being even talked about, mentioned, or discussed. On top of that, these changes will cause significant dynamic changes to our community. From the beginning of Valleydale to the end of Valleydale, there are no townhomes, there are no apartment homes. It's all single-family homes. So now if you introduce this to our community, it changes everything. Everything. Our whole mindset, the way things are, the way people interact. It causes safety concerns, because when you start having apartments in there, even townhomes, I'm sorry, but people who live in townhomes, I've been in them, they care about their stuff, but at the same time, they don't take as much pride as somebody who owns a single-family home. That's all I'm going to say on that part. Also, this also will put a bigger strain on the local school systems, which are already almost at capacity at this point, which are not doing the great on test levels at this point in time. So when you add even more to that, you're putting more strain on a system that's already strained and going to cause more students to fall further and further and further behind. And I thank you for your consideration on this.
Thank you. Mr. Jordan, please step up. You have 2 minutes left.
2 minutes out. I'll make it quick. Dwayne Jordan. I live at 6501 Mint Street. I think I'm the largest property owner in that area with over 15 acres. I have 12 homes in there that I rent out. My family established that neighborhood over 100 years ago. If you look in that area, there are no apartments. There's not. Everything has been single-family dwellings forever. When the city came in and annexed it, they didn't change it. Nothing has changed until now. This petition is before you, and it may meet the planning staff's recommendations, and it may meet their intentions. But my grandma used to say, it may be right, but is it the right thing to do? We have invested our money and our time in building our property and building our quality of life in this neighborhood for all these years. And I don't see the need for any change now. If the church wants to be a community of or a steward of the neighborhood, donate the property and put single-family homes in there. That way it ties in and matches everything that's already there.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay? And I would employ the council to please deny this petition. This is not necessary, and it affects our quality of life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Moore, if you would like to rejoin us, you have 2 minutes for your rebuttal.
Definitely appreciate everyone coming out tonight to discuss the rezoning. Just some of the technical issues. There was a question of that the right-of-way will increase in size. We will not be increasing the Goodman Road extension right-of-way. We do not control that piece of property at all. It'll just be an extension of an existing street. I mentioned earlier of the changing of the rezoning compared to the CG. That's where a lot of the trips will happen because it's partly zone commercial. The trips will decrease by 70%. So we have that as well. And possibly another item, we did explore, knowing that access was going to be a significant concern of the site. There are two parcels that are along Valleydale Road that are contiguous to the site. Those folks were approached, they were not interested in the rezoning or being a part of the rezoning. But we did want to make sure that the Goodman Road extension, we would have the right-of-way to the property line should the other properties to the south redevelop. So there is a potential for an access along Somerville Road. I'll let these gentlemen finish it up.
Thank you, folks. Change is tough. It always is hard, and I really respect these folks and the change that comes to their community. I think we'll all recognize that our change in our city is happening fast. And one of those changes has been the affordability of housing and how expensive it is. And to the greater good of being able to keep residents and make homes available for them to purchase and be able to build their personal wealth, I hope you'll consider this. Thank you for your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. We are going to stay close for questions, because we're going to open it up for questions. And sir, you can't speak again unless someone asks you a question. But hang on, because we're going to open it up for questions for the council members. And we're going to start with Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. First, let me thank everyone for coming out this evening on this very important topic. Certainly, the affordability of housing is really important in our community, and certainly I think everyone around this dais supports affordable housing, whether it's this district or District 1, 3, 4, no matter where it's at. And it has to be in the right location too, right? That's really important. I did take the opportunity, I guess about 4 weeks ago, to tour the site, walk the site, saw the proximity between Beth Home and the only entrance to the site, and I left feeling that it was problematic. If I lived there, I would be upset too, not because it's affordable housing that's coming behind me, but because of the close proximity, and the only entry point to that subdivision is literally a stone throw away. And I think you have to take that into consideration as well. I believe that no matter if you live in an apartment or a townhouse, people care about the quality of life and the living conditions of the community. And so I don't think that's the issue at hand either, right? It's really about, is this the appropriate site? Is there an appropriate entry point to the site that would accommodate not only the traffic that would generate based on those who live there, but emergency vehicles, fire truck, police cars, getting to the people on that site. And so I'm a little bit undecided at this point, very much aware that there are a number of concerns relating to this. I'm willing to grant you the same courtesy of walking the site with you as well, and see if there is a way that we can broker a compromise. You can't move her house, right? That's a permanent fixture, and that road is, well, you know, it's really, really narrow. So I don't think I'm exaggerating at all, right? And they go right by her house. I mean, it's literally problematic. So I'm opening myself up to all the parties to come out again to see if there is a way to compromise. Is there another entry point other than that entry point? But I'm very skeptical, not based on housing affordability, based on proximity and entry. And I think those are some issues that we need to talk about before it comes back for a decision. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Ms. Ajmira.
Thank you. First, let me just acknowledge the partnership with the city, especially for home affordability. A lot of products we see is for rent. So for you all to bring opportunity for our residents to have a shot at home ownership speaks a volume, and we appreciate that. I know Councilwoman Mayfield has been leading that effort for faith and housing partnership. So we want to see more of that. But I also want to keep in mind what Councilmember Graham said about the entry point. So if one of you could come come forward and if you can show us the site map again and see if there are any changes that could be made to the entry point to address some of the concerns that were raised by a few public speakers.
Literally, right here. Literally.
Sure, okay. When the rendering comes back up, Ms. Lamon's property is right here. It's a little hard to see her, but her house is very close to that. She was kind enough to share her boundary survey or property survey with me, and she's right. The house is close. It's about 12 feet from the right-of-way and about 17 feet from the pavement itself. But what we have discussed is putting curbing, because there is no curbing currently along that section of the street, to have 2.5-foot curbing guttered down to a point where it goes to valley curb for her driveway, for her house, and then continue that along Goodman Road into the site. As I explained a little bit earlier, we do have a stub street here. So should these properties redevelop, we have a connection there. These two properties, they did not want to be part of the rezoning petition. So that would have been probably our best entry point off of Valleydale Road. And we even explored another possibility of another entrance into the back of the church property, but unfortunately, this property owner, we would have needed to do grading for that driveway, and it probably would have been on his property as well, so he would have had to also agree to all of those terms. So we've looked at it. We do fully understand that access is a significant concern as part of this rezoning, but we will continue to work with Ms. Lammons with some of the items that were mentioned earlier.
Yes, I think that would address their concerns, and I think those are valid that Councilmember Graham mentioned. And I hope that we can have a resolution on that in traffic congestion throughout the city. So this question is for our CDOT. If you could give us any update on infrastructure that's coming near them, and if you don't have that list, it could be part of our follow-up report. Or okay.
Jay Carpenter with CDOT. So there's no capital projects identified in the direct vicinity of this site, but I will note that specifically Valleydale Road is, its full build out is a 2-lane road, a 2+. So there's some turn lane improvements that could happen down the road on Valleydale, but it's not planned for any road expansion to more than 2 travel lanes. But we can look for additional projects in the area and see if we can find anything to provide in the follow-up report.
Yes, I think if you could provide us an update on that. Any infrastructure items as part of our strategic investment areas? Or are you?
Not in the direct vicinity of this
site.
rezoning. Yep, correct.
Okay. And I also want to note, in staff's recommendation, I see the rationale here is that there is a commitment to setbacks and open space that are greater than our ordinance requirement. Could you tell us what is our ordinance requirement and what is the commitment that's been provided by the petitioner, specifically in terms of the setback and open space?
Yes, so adjacent to the neighborhood 1 place type, they would be required to provide a 10-foot Class C landscape yard. They voluntarily included a 25-foot Class B landscape yard where applicable, and for the rear setbacks abutting the western or northwestern side of the property along here, They've committed to a minimum of 20 feet from that property line. Depending on the orientation of buildings, it could vary between 5 and 20 feet, but they've committed to a minimum of 20.
Well, that's all I have. I look forward to having some sort of resolution on the entry point, but I really appreciate the commitment that you have made to affordable housing, setbacks, open space, and even parks and rec easement. That speaks a volume, and I hope that we can address the concerns of our longtime residents that they raised. Well, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. My questions, I just want to give you an idea of what we as council members have to consider. Some of the things you mentioned, your subdivision is changing. We hear that so often, and we understand that's just, the city is changing. So we recognize that. I think you brought up some great points when it comes to infrastructure. So that those will be considerations. Councilmember Ashmere asked questions about pending developments. When I think about it, and I know we can't ask, or we don't ask about the price point too much. That's kind of frowned upon. But when you talk about 80% AMI, in my mind, I'm thinking around $288,000 or $300,000 for the homes. If we're looking, if we're looking at a 120,000 AMI in the city. So we need that level of housing in our city. If you think about it, $300,000 with the home dollars, the home down payment, I think is up to maybe $100,000. That's under $200,000 mortgage for individuals. We need that level of housing in our city. So this will be something that, as me as a council member, I would really advocate for and want to see. However, as a former realtor and someone who was opposed to the UDO for specific reasons, location does matter. So if it's going to impact, and I think I heard 12 feet from a driveway, I mean, we have to really, really consider that. Is that fair to the existing homeowner? So that's the approach we want to take. So I would hope for certain that you all could work this out, because it's important. This is important housing. But our current residents are important as well. So I look forward to the additional progress. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Mayfield?
Thank you. Question for the petitioner. It is noted in here, open space will be amenitized and have a minimum dimension of 50 feet in all directions. What exactly does that mean?
That's the minimum open space dimension. We have identified on this plan here, the area that is in green. We do have called out as the open space for the site. That excludes the stream buffer.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure for whether or not residents pull this up. When we say that open space will be amenitized and have that minimal dimension, what exactly are we saying? That we just have green space, but open space could mean anything? Is it a trail? Is it accessible? What are we talking about?
As part of the conditions, there are amenities that we're able to choose from. So that is all built into the conditional notes.
So you'll be able to choose from different amenities. So one of the challenges that I'm having based off of what you shared so far, which this is difficult. Yes, we are working specifically with our religious institutions to identify opportunities both for housing, but also the reimagining of building space. Yet, what we have said in this city for many years is that aging in place, staying in place is a priority. So when we have a community that has grown, yes, we're going to see growth and we're going to see changes, that accessibility into this space is a major challenge. When you share, and when I hear that a number of the potential partners chose not to be a part of this rezoning with their land choice, it almost feels like, well, we're going to do it because this is the land that we can do it on. But we have to take into consideration the impact when you're looking at 12 feet or less. I use Valleydale Road probably 3 to 4 times a week. So coming off of Mount Holly, Huntersville, turn on to Bellhaven, if I want to get to Freedom, Mount Holly Road is a nightmare because it is literally 2 lanes. It is extremely difficult, which is why my earlier was no. I cut up Valleydale. Valleydale is starting to see a number of the same traffic concerns. And yes, we have a bus. The bus is sitting in the same traffic. So that's not really a win for me to say, well, we have access to public transportation there without being able to widen it. And you really, it's challenging to even want to widen that road because of the businesses that are along it. I would love to continue the conversations. I would gladly come out and visit with the residents as well as walk with you all to see your vision. Reorientation may or may not help, but when we're talking about the setbacks, but the setbacks aren't going to directly positively impact the residents who are going to receive the largest negative impact, that's going to be a challenge. And yes, we want to make sure that we have a city that's accessible and that is diverse in price point housing as well as product. I would hope that we can figure out how to do that without causing not only future challenges, since we say home ownership is how we build wealth, future challenges for generations to come, but also the impacts that will be felt. Because the other thing that we're not talking about is the construction piece. Do you have, of which we can talk about it in more detail, but the plan for where are the employees going to go, where are they going to be parked when the actual construction starts? Is the site big enough where all of that can be contained on the site, or is it going to have to be in community like we're seeing in South End and other areas where the workers unfortunately are parking in front of people's driveways, parking in their yards? That would be helpful to know, but I definitely look forward to us continuing the conversation. These are just some of the things that I'm trying to take into consideration as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Driggs.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So I just actually don't have a question. I wanted to speak for a moment to the residents. Really appreciate that you came tonight. Your passion and concerns have come across. We heard you. I think it's important to try to level set a little bit. So when I heard you say, please deny this, or why can't we have single-family homes, we aren't really in a position to impose single-family home construction. We don't have the authority to do that. So we have to look at this through the lens of the pressure that we're under because of a housing shortage and the desire to create housing, the growth of the city. And we are often in a difficult position here because people like you come in and they're unhappy about the impact of this growth. We cannot entirely prevent that. Our job is to minimize that, to keep it to a minimum. And you are fortunate to have a veteran council member in your corner to kind of steer that process. But I would just encourage you, as the chair of the Planning and Transportation Committee, I'm the District 7 rep, so it's not my geography, but think in terms of obtaining the best possible outcome of this, and think about the issues that matter the most to you. I can tell you, for example, on traffic, it says the proposal creates 270 trips, and the entitlement is 970 trips. You should be happy. We've seen that before. I was actually the one that introduced the requirement that we also disclose what the current traffic is. So the fact is you've got no traffic being generated at that site now, and you have the prospect of 277, I think, whatever, yes, 277 trips. So traffic is often what we get challenged about. The one thing I will say about that is we are trying to do something about that. So we are working right now on offering to the public in November a referendum for a 1-cent sales tax increase that would give the city a multiple of our current funding capacity for infrastructure projects. So even though there's nothing scheduled right now, as that process moves forward, and if we get that passed, we will have more capacity to address some of these issues. And I also just wanted to mention, by way of level set, a lot of people do come in and they say the schools can't handle it. And just want you to know about that in my dealings with CMS, they have basically said, don't you control your growth. For us, we will, you let it grow and you do what you think is right, and we will create the school capacity around that. Now, again, my kids were in trailers for years, so I know that that's not always very satisfactory, but it's not up to us to make decisions based on the schools. There's a school board for that. They have their own budget. And so what I'm trying to do is just point you in the direction of the most effective advocacy for your interests. And I hope you appreciate that. Again, you're fortunate Mr. Graham is going to give you all of the benefit that he can. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Molina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, and I think a lot of great points have already been stated, so I don't want to repeat any of those points. I'll start by saying to the residents, thank you for coming today. I think it is very important that we hear from you directly. It really helps us to understand, especially for those of us that don't deal with you on a regular basis as far as representation is concerned. It helps us to know what your direct concerns are for when this decision comes in front. I will say this because I'm working on and talking to staff, and I'm sure my colleagues will be a part of this, because we all have we're all interested in making sure that the residents that we represent have some understanding of how this process goes, right? So, Mr. Driggs is telling you a lot about, what we can and can't do from a municipal government standpoint. So this is what we call the hearing. This is where you come, you tell us what what's going on from your perspective. We hear from the petitioner, and then within a month, based on most timelines, we have a decision in like a month's time, in most cases, generally, right? That's not something that's widely known. A lot of our residents don't realize that the time frame is that short, so I want to level set. It could be longer, but that's generally how it goes on a decision-making basis. And with that being said, I'd like to know, what can you do by right, petitioner, with this property as is? So based on what you own, how many units could you build in this property by right? By right meaning they own it, the land use right now says they can do X without any decision from council. That's what that means.
The existing CG zoning that does allow for townhomes, it also allows for multifamily stacked, so it could go vertical. I don't think that staff would recommend a tall height in this area, plus with having more of a condo situation, that would be some issues with financing. So that's why we are going strictly with the single family attached. Now, the balance of the site, there could be duplexes and triplexes. We have committed to buildings that only have 4 units as a max, and we have kept those very clustered and inside, and so that was very intentional on the design itself. Could we have greater density? Someone could come in and build a family apartment building.
In its current state.
In its current state, up to, I believe, 48 feet in height. We have capped the height as part of the conditions to, I believe, 35 feet for a 2-story product. So the height could be greater than what we are committing to. And the CG is about 1.4 acres approximately. So an apartment building or two smaller apartment buildings could possibly be built there and easily meet the 43 units and then would still have the same access,
And what's the current ask for units right now?
43 total.
So you're asking for 43, and 43 could potentially be built by right?
I think by right, yes, with the 2 apartment buildings and then duplexes and triplexes on the balance of the M1B
Do you
zoning.
agree with that, staff? Is there somebody who can answer that for me?
Yeah, I just want to make a small correction. So apartments and multifamily attached are permitted in the CG district under certain circumstances. That's when they're located in a neighborhood center. Under this, in this location, apartments and townhomes would not be permitted by right in CG.
So give me some idea of what would be allowed by right at this moment.
Well, and to fully know how many units could be built and how large of a commercial building could be built, the site would have to be designed following standards of the ordinance, so we don't have a good idea specifically, but the CDOT memo, as far as those trip count of 970 trips that's been stated, is taking into account 13 dwelling units and about 14,000 square feet of retail.
Okay. So just for public consumption, conditional, I see that there's a conditional. So conditional means what?
Conditional means exactly what this is. It has to come before the board for decision.
Right, but that means you got to tell me what you're going to put there, or you don't have to tell me what you're going to put there?
As far as conditional goes, you do have to come with a plan, and that's what they're doing through this process. But to develop by right, they do have CG on the property, and they do have N1B on the property. So there are certain uses that could be built without coming before the city council.
Absolutely. So I'm trying to ask these questions so that you get some of what we have to deal with when it comes to making these types of decisions. We have some values-based information that we can actually, say like, look, this makes no sense. But then the protection or not thereof comes in where, like, there are already land uses that can be done without us even saying yes or no, right? And it sounds like that could be a possible challenge based on what I can see right now, right? And so I agree with Mr. Driggs in that you do have a senior statesman who represents you, who is extremely adept at this process, who will be able to guide you to some type of equilibrium, right? And I trust that with 100% certainty. Something that makes sense for you as an existing resident who has spent decimal years in this area, and something based on what the current land uses would allow for in the event that, let's say, this wasn't to happen and someone else purchased it hypothetically, right? To make sure that you understood, based on, because this is complex. I mean, even the ones of us that do it all the time, we have to depend on staff to ask for specificity, and making sure that we can try to disseminate that to you and make sure that you understand what's going on is important to as much as we can, right? So I'm going to look to Councilmember Graham because, like I said, I know he's going to do a fantastic job of giving you great guidance on what's in front of you, where you are, working with the petitioner, and I'm sure he'll get back to us to let us know what that means. But thank you for coming, and you guys too. I mean, Councilwoman Johnson said something that's very important, right? Housing affordability is something that we're always attempting to try to make the right, create the right opportunity for, where it makes sense, for both the resident and, both residents, the resident that would live there and, existing residents as well. So, I'm really hoping that in this case, based on what the current use is, what your ask use is, that you would consider if this was your neighborhood. Right? And you had something that you knew you could do across the street from someone's house, but you also know that someone lives there. I like those kind of humans. I like the humans that are just like, you know what, I'm going to consider these other humans because if it were me, I would want someone to consider me too. And so that makes it easy for us to be in favor of something where there needs to be a balance, just, from my process of thought. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Molina. Mr. Moore, I just have a couple questions for you. I had noticed that you had 15 members attend the community meeting. Were there other concerns outside of what these 5 residents brought up tonight?
It was the same message that we received that they provided you, the council. Those were the major issues that we did hear.
And then as you went through your presentation, did you mention that 3 homes would potentially lose some parts of their land with this? Someone mentioned that, and I wanted to just verify that that was true.
No, that was mentioned a little bit earlier. We will not be widening the right-of-way, the Goodman Road extension, so there will, because the church does not control the property along either side of Goodman Road, so there will not be any property that will be acquired unless if the property owner is willing to do so, but we have not asked them for any property, so there will not be any taking of property.
Okay, so no one's property will be impacted. However, the proximity to the madam's house is very much an issue.
Yes.
Okay, got you. So the other statement I just wanted to make, because there was a question around schools and performance, and Mr. Driggs did bring up some really valid points. But we do see the utilization of the schools in this area, and in particular, West Mac High School and Coolwood Middle School are very much underutilized. And so that's good news that there won't be a great saturation of the high school and the middle school there. So that was good news. As my colleagues have mentioned, I won't repeat it, but this is a difficult balance, and I'm sure I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Graham so he can close us out. But I'm sure we'll have fruitful discussions in community around this on a go-forward basis. Mr. Graham, will you close?
Can I ask one question? Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, you have a question?
Thank you. Just really quick, there's a note from Charlotte Water, and it says, and this is for city staff, it says Charlotte Water currently does not have water system accessible for the rezoning boundary under review. The closest water distribution main is approximately 375 feet southwest. A developer-donated project will be required in cases there is not direct service. Can you explain that? So the developer will have to do what? And what impact will that have on the current water pressure and system?
Often sites will have direct access to water mains, sewer lines. In this case, the closest is 375 feet away from the site, so the developer will be responsible for extending that water main into the site, and they will have to donate that infrastructure to Charlotte Water for maintenance.
And will that have a negative impact on the current water system?
I can't speak to Charlotte Water policies, but it should not have any adverse impact on the water system. They'll have to build it to the specifications required by Charlotte Water.
Okay, thank you. That's all, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, close us out.
Yeah, we beat this up enough tonight, for sure. I just hope that my members will follow Councilmember Mayfield's lead and maybe visit the site, because I think you'll get a different appreciation based on what you're seeing on the map, right? And so I know everyone is busy, but I think that might give you a little bit more understanding in terms of what some of the considerations. Thank you.
Excellent. Any further discussion?
Move to close.
Second.
I have a motion to close and second. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you all for coming out, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we will move on to agenda item number 13, petition number 2025-032 by Queen City Land. The location is approximately 15.8 acres located southwest corner of Plaza Road Extension and Hood Road and east of Windrift in District 5, Miss Molina's district. Current zoning is B1 CD. Proposed zoning is NCCD and N2A CD. Staff does not recommend approval of this petition in its current form. So after staff's presentation, Mr. Brown, you will have 10 minutes, and then we have Miss Ray Timothy, who will have, are you present, Ms. Ray Timothy? All right, wonderful. After the 10 minutes, you will have 10 minutes to state your case, and Mr. Brown will have a 2-minute rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you. The site is just under 16 acres along the Plaza Road Extension corridor at the intersection with Hood Road in an area characterized by single-family residential development as well as green fields. The site is currently zoned neighborhood business conditional from a 1993 plan for a shopping center, and the petitioner is proposing both a neighborhood center conditional as well as a neighborhood 2A conditional zoning district at this site. This request is inconsistent with the policy map's recommendation for the neighborhood 1 place type. The plan proposes neighborhood center zoning for the portion of the site at the Hood Road intersection, and that would allow for 20,000 square feet of athletic club uses as well as 4,500 square feet of retail uses. Also specifically prohibits some of those auto-centric neighborhood center uses as well as a handful of others. The N2A portion of the site is for up to 94 townhome-style units with no more than 5 units per building. They would have a 10-foot Class C landscape yard located along the southern boundary against the existing Neighborhood 1 residential place type. Also commits to preferred architectural standards for those multifamily attached units. They would provide a public street and sidewalk connectivity into the existing Peckham Place and Ball Court, provides a 12-foot multi-use path as well as 8-foot planting strip along Plaza Road Extension, and 8-foot sidewalk along any internal public streets, and 8-foot planting strip and 6-foot sidewalk along the Hood Road frontage. The plan commits to the portion of the site that's along Hood Road to remain undeveloped, and that would protect existing wetlands and the sensitive environmental areas. And the petitioner would provide mulch walking trails and benches throughout common open space areas. Staff does not recommend approval of this petition in its current form. Our recommendation stems from the items we would look for when assessing a place type change for Neighborhood 1 to Neighborhood 2. In regard to the NC portion of the plan, staff is supportive of the proposal and generally desires to see those non-residential uses that may serve as the neighbors in the area. The context of this area is near uniformly Neighborhood 1, and generally a Neighborhood 2 request should be considerate of its surroundings and transition appropriately to those single-family neighborhoods at its edges. Staff would prefer to see building forms throughout the Neighborhood 2 portion of the plan that are in alignment with what is allowed in the Neighborhood 1 districts, such as duplexes, triplexes, and some quadruplexes. The areas of the plans that abut the single-family neighborhoods should have the least intense building forms, such as duplexes and triplexes, with more intense building forms transitioning across the site and being oriented more towards the NC portion designation of the site. A larger landscape yard should also be committed to along the single-family boundary to be more mindful of that N1 to N2 transition. There are a couple of other outstanding issues related to transportation that we would look to see addressed in subsequent revised plan, as well as some other more minor items. I'll take any questions following comments by the petitioner and public speakers.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, members of the Zoning Committee, Colin Brown on behalf of petitioner Queen City Land. Thanks for the overview by Holly. This is an interesting site. There's a lot going on here. We've actually spent a good amount of time. Councilmember Molina was involved early and smartly let me know that County Commissioner Mark Jarrell lives around the corner, so we've engaged with Commissioner Jarrell to talk about this site and kind of get everyone's feedback. So as Holly mentioned, the site is here at the corner of Plaza Road Extension and Hood. What is interesting about the site, it is currently zoned to be a shopping center. So the only thing that can be built on the site today is a large shopping center. Now, this plan was approved 20 plus years ago, right? A shopping center has not been built. For some reasons, there's not demand there. But just keep in mind, zoning only allows a shopping center. So that's what allowed by right. Now, what does the city's plan say? The city's plan says it should be our lowest density residential. So we have a site that is zoned for kind of heavy commercial. The plan calls for very low density residential. And as we talk to the community, feedback is kind of in different places. As we've talked to Commissioner Jarrell, we had some good turnout at our community meeting, and folks said, you know what, we've got a lot of residential out here. We wouldn't mind having some commercial, a place to go have a sandwich or have a coffee or have a breakfast. So we might like to see that. Also, we have one of the largest parks in Mecklenburg County around the corner, and a lot is being done with open space and trail connections. So there's a lot of things that can bring you in and out of that site. So for Queen City Land, they're sitting here, and frankly, they're just a residential developer, right? Their plan was to take this site and probably build the type of housing that staff mentioned. Kind of lower density than what you see on the screen. But in balancing all these, we've come up with the plan you see on the screen, which incorporates a commercial portion. Because that's generally what we heard from the neighborhood is we got a lot of housing. We don't want to see just another all residential. Can you provide a commercial component? So the development team has done that. We are using split zoning to have the NC zoning there, so we've got a little a place where people can come. We've got different ideas on what that could be. We don't necessarily know right now, but we do think it's a good idea. Then keep in mind all of the work that's going on with that giant park I showed you, which will be just around the corner here, and folks saying, hey, we're just seeing houses everywhere. So we've got almost 25% of the site over here on the edge, which is kind of our frontage. If you were building commercial, this is where you'd want the view corridor, but we're leaving all of this undeveloped. So over 25% of the site is undeveloped. These are the walking trails that we're talking about that would connect some adjacent communities to the commercial area. So there's a lot going on. When you start doing all those, you kind of get squeezed. And so we do have now a smaller area, more concentrated residential, which has more attached housing than staff would like. But this is our goal of trying to respond to what we've heard from the community. So we do have, our proposal does have 94 townhomes, up to 20,000 square feet of athletic clubs, fitness facilities, racket clubs, up to 4,500 square feet of retail. And then the commitment to a very large portion of the site being open space. So that's what we're working through. We have Cole Hunt with the development team is here. He has been out to the site. He has met with neighbors on site, kind of walked it with them. That's the reason for some of the trail connections. I know we've got a speaker in opposition here tonight. Happy to hear from them. I expect we'll continue conversations with the speakers, especially it looks like staff's comments, as I'm understanding them. We've got to have fairly dense housing because we've given up portion of our site to commercial and open space. So we've got to have fairly dense housing. But if the concern is along the southern property line, the good news is we don't even abut the single family homes. There's intervening property there, and we're happy to continue working with neighbors in that area and staff, and hopefully get everyone in a supportive position on that. So we've got a long agenda tonight. I'm not going to take all my time, but happy to answer questions if you have any.
Thank you. Ms. Ray Timothy, can you come down to this podium? And once you arrive, you will have 10 minutes.
Okay, Scouts, up you get.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Bye, guys. I'm getting there pretty well. It's hard, but
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Multiple city council members there in the future.
They get two badges instead of
But I
just
had a
one.
Girl Scout and a Girl Scout.
Planning, sanity control.
I can't meet on Monday. Yeah, that was the plan.
Good evening, council members. I am here with myself and the other residents of the community that this development will directly affect. And I also have 17 other signatures from members of our community. So I want to start off by saying that we did meet with Cole, myself because I'm an end unit, and the other people met with them as well. And we were told that you weren't going to build behind our house. So that map does not represent what we were told at all. My first point is that there are other communities with townhomes and also single-family homes within a 5 to 10 mile radius of our community. Our community is still new in itself, and the issues that we had with our builder, which was Empire, I think could have been avoided if there were more oversight into how they were building our houses, especially at the price point that we had to pay. Also, Empire lied to us because we paid premiums for our end units. They told us nobody would build behind us. That's the reason for our corner lots, and that's the reason that we bought where we bought. We thought we would have the end unit for our children to play and to have freedom to do what we needed to do. That's why we bought on the end unit. Also, we think that this community, the new community, it will not be a sufficient buffer between us and them. The other community that's on the other side of us, we can see how there's lack of a buffer between us and them. I also want to mention that we do have deer that come to our site, and we understand Reedy Creek Park is there. There's a bunch of trees and everything there. Those deer also have to cross into our community because we've been imposing on them. So where are these deer going to go if there's another community just popping up from where we are right now? Also to mention, increased traffic. Trying to get out of our community off of Hood Road now is a sport. I have walked that community, I walk our community, and I walk the next one. I've seen people go around buses with stop signs out that they're supposed to stop. Hood Road is long, and it goes to Rocky River Road to Robinson Church Road with no extra street lights, no stop signs, no nothing. There was a major accident that resulted in the death, Plaza Road and Hood Road last year of 2024. Also, Plaza Road Extension, there's no stop signs, there's no additional lights to, I think it's EWT Harris. There's a school along the way, there's another community development, there's like 3 community developments down that way. So I don't think we're accounting for the additional traffic that this is going to bring, especially with putting a commercial site right there. People are going to be able to cut through our community to be able to turn on Hood Road or to get to Hood Road without having to wait at that light at Plaza Road and Hood Road. There's also a lack of stop signs within our community, lighting that we've tried to bring up, but we weren't able to get anything done. What else? Affordable homes. I think right now with our economy and with everything going on, the pricing for affordable homes is kind of a myth at this point. I don't think affordable homes will be affordable at this point. I know how our community started off and the price point that it's ending at. And no public transportation anywhere near our communities at all. How is there going to be affordability when the people will have to, you have to have a car to get around, have to. Also, the decreasing of trees and foliage and all that stuff will increase the chances of flooding throughout all these communities as well as they're being built up. I want to mention property taxes. We've been there only 2 years and our property taxes have jumped already. The noise will also be an inconvenience. They still haven't finished our roads. They parked the equipment on the outside of our street, my house, right outside my house, to do the next community's road. So where are these machines going to be held at? Where are they going to be done? I work from home. So this is going to be a big issue for me. And a lot of other people in our community work from home. I will say Peckman and Ballman are the 2 main roads that will be affected by this. And yeah, that's it, right? I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Brown, you have 2 minutes.
They'll probably
I need to sit.
Okay. Thank you. If we could go to my slide deck. I think what Mr. Hunt meant when he looked at it, and I was just looking at, if you could put my deck up real quick. Quick. Thanks. That's 12 seconds waiting on it. What I'll point out is that our property line does not abut, if you could, I don't know if you can zoom in, but our property does not abut the existing community. So we don't share a property line with any of the owners. I think that's what Mr. Hunt meant about, not developing in the backyard. As I mentioned, I think we're certainly happy. The good news is there is separation land that we do not own. I can find out, I believe their HOA owns these pieces. I'm not sure about this, but I can find out. And certainly we can talk about the transition between the two. On traffic, I do understand this is their main access to Hood. It is hard to get out. What we'll be required to do is we have to connect to their existing roads. I know people don't love that, but that will give them access to Plaza Road Extension and to the new traffic signal at this location. So that's, we talk about connectivity. Those will be coming through our site. I hear the concern about construction. I think we'll be happy to talk about a condition that those not be connected until construction's finished, so that our construction stays on their site, does not negatively impact their site. But again, we're balancing a lot of interest here. And what we tried to come together is something that's responsive to having a commercial component, preserving a good amount of open space, and allowing us to build units, the speaker's right about affordability, trying to deliver homes that people can afford. This is the housing type that looks like. So I'm happy to continue. I have not met with the residents. Happy to do that and talk about, because staff has expressed the same concern about the southern border, about how we can soften that, mitigate that, so the concerns of the noise, the visual impact to those areas. So we'll continue discussions.
Thank you. And Mr. Brown, it's kind of difficult to see on this map, but how many ingresses and egresses are there into this community?
So to our development, there will be one access to Hood Road up here at the top. Now, their existing subdivision, and this is shown, if I were to show you the old plan for the shopping center, the old zoning requires these connections as well. So whoever develops this site will have to connect to the stubs in their community. Now, I hear her point too. The good news is here, if coming out, we've kind of routed this is a pretty direct route. I think a lot of residents of those communities will probably use our new road to go up to Hood, to go to Plaza Road Extension and get the light. But we're only showing one. It is true that residents of this, if they were maybe going south, might go through that existing community to Hood to probably take a right.
Okay, I have Mr. Driggs.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm just interested in the site plan. You say you've got 25% that's undeveloped. Is that because of topography, or why is nothing happening there?
It's a lot. There's some topography, there's some environmental issues. I mean, there's more that we could capture, but we've kind of separated that off. This goes pretty hand in hand. So essentially separating that off, and I don't have an exact number. I think our zoning, it depends on whether you define it as open space or tree save, and we're still working through that. But about 25% of the site is undeveloped.
Is there anything that precludes future development in that area?
On our site, certainly the zoning plan would. So if this plan is approved, this area could not be developed.
I mean, you could apply.
We'd be happy to put a zoning condition on it.
Right. Okay, thank you.
I'm also, some Swiss Re, that there's something over there. So there's probably some environmental areas that reason they're not maxing that out, and there's not a connection to it.
Okay. Ms. Ashmira.
Thank you. So I live just a few blocks down that way, north, so I hear the concerns that my neighbors raised, specifically around infrastructure, and I agree with staff's recommendations here. Staff does not recommend it in its current form, and I see challenge with this one in its current form. I will not support it in its current form. Infrastructure is an issue. This is a 2-lane road, in terms of the strategic investment areas, CDOT can correct me, but there is nothing planned for this area. If you could come to the podium, confirm or correct me if I'm wrong here.
That's correct. There's no planned improvements at these locations as of yet.
Yes, so really, I appreciate some of the neighbors that spoke in opposition. And I think staff has clearly laid out some of their challenges with this and why they don't support it. But I hope that you'll continue to work with the district council member.
And her, she lives here.
Yes.
Yeah, call her too. Yeah.
Well, they already know
not know you
where
lived
I'm
right
where I stand, but I would love to continue to work on this along with Councilmember Molina, with neighbors, to see if we can come to a resolution on this one. But yeah, their concerns are valid. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Yes, thank you so much, Madam. Oh, not Mayor, Pro Tem. Look good sitting in that seat. Young lady that spoke, your name is Ms. Ray. I heard you say something that you met and they told you that they were not gonna build behind your home. Can you come?
Wait, hang on, ma'am. Can you come to the podium?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna.
Yes, and then you can answer the questions.
Did you?
Yeah, ours is just right there. It's that one, yeah, it's that one.
So this question is for the young lady that spoke, Ms. Ray Timothy.
Yes.
I heard you say, and it
Cole-
stuck with me, that you were told that there was not gonna be any building.
Yes,
directly
Mr.
behind your
Cole, Mr. Cole met with myself, well, not myself, my wife.
Okay.
We're that corner unit right there, and then he also met with this house and this house. I don't think he met Mahari, right? And he walked them through what was gonna be here. So we were told, right now it's blocked off here, we were told this is gonna be a U. Nothing's gonna be here, it was gonna open up and go to the left. So all of this right here is a surprise to us because this is our yard, you know?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'll let y'all.
So we were under the impression that nothing was going to be built behind us, whether it's a buffer or not. Besides the point that we were told that nobody was ever going to build here. So, yeah.
But when you met with, for clarity and for the record, when you met with Mr. Cole Hunt, you were clearly told that there was not gonna be anything built in the area.
I met with Mr. Cole, myself and my other neighbor, and he told me that there would be nothing built behind me.
Wait, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry.
We live in the same household, that's my wife.
No, I know,
Okay.
but hang on. We just have a process.
Oh, sorry.
That we go by, so you can't speak from the chair, and you're also not signed up to speak, so I'm sorry.
It's okay. I heard
But
it
you
loud
were
and
welcome
clear.
to
Speak
answer
for
the
her,
question.
yes. We were told that no houses were going to be built behind our home.
Okay, all right, so thank you for speaking through your
Yes.
wife. I really appreciate it. So, Mr. Colin Brown, do you know, have you communicated?
I think, and Cole
Mr.
signed
Cole?
up to speak. It's Cole, if you want to speak for yourself. I was not at that meeting, so come up. Again, I think, my guess is Mr. Hunt saw that we don't own the property behind, but Cole, I'll let you speak.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Exactly that. The Empire HOA owns the property behind their property line. So when I indicated we will not be building on that property, I still stand by that statement, including the buffer, which the property that we're acquiring, that was not included on what the HOA, which is the land that butts her backyard. So I wanted to make it clear to Allison that we would not be building on that HOA land.
Yeah, I see how that's confusing, right? This is rare that you see a situation where they have their lots, we have our land, and then there's land in between. So I think Mr. Hunt was saying, hey, I'm not developing on this. The neighbors assumed, okay, nothing's happening behind us. It is probably when they see this map, it's closer than they expected. So this is the conversation we will have. Again, staff's comments are the same about this southern property line. So I think this is the area that we're talking about, and that's the area we'll continue talking about.
So speaking of importance of community engagement and community, I just wanted to be clear that, the conversation that you told them that unless it's something beyond your control, that we kind of stick with that for sake of transparency for our residents and to communicate and work together. So thank you so much, Mr. Hunt, for coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Driggs has a quick follow-up, and then we'll go to Ms. Molina.
So I just wanted to note, we were told we need to look at what's in front of us, and we can't get in a position of trying to resolve what somebody said. If there was a breach of promise, it's a civil matter. So just want to be clear about that. We need to talk about what the plan is as it's being offered. I did have a question for staff, though. It looks like some of your objections are pretty basic. How far away are you from being able to reach an agreement with the petitioner?
Right, so it depends on how amenable they are to changing building forms and looking at options for the area along the southern boundary. And, you know, it doesn't have to be just one straightforward answer. You could look at something like enhanced plantings beyond what's currently prescribed, which is a Class C landscape yard, which is the lowest tier, the least amount of screening, if you will, of the landscape yards. So in terms of the amount of items, no, I wouldn't say we are that far away. It's just how open are they to looking at those less dense building forms across the site, but particularly where you're close to the N1 and looking at your options for the landscape yard along the southern boundary. It's not that we don't think it could work. We just want to see something that's more palatable given the N1 context, because generally the site is missing some of the items that we would like to see when considering an N2 place type change. So we're looking to make it more appropriate and consistent with N1 development patterns with items such as less intense building forms or more buffering and screening along its edges.
So my concern is just, this is the hearing tonight, and it could change possibly quite a bit. So I'll look forward to Ms. Molina's leadership on this one and to hearing about how it comes out. But it feels to me as if this is a little early in the process for us to be having a hearing, quite frankly. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Molina, close us out.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. And first of all, to the neighbors, thank you for coming out. It's great to hear from you. A lot of our residents and even my colleagues hear me talk about the Far East. We talk about the Far East all the time. And we all know when we live here what that means. But, you know, they're a great example of what I'm talking about when I'm saying, how do we serve our residents that live in these areas, these previously unannexed areas of Charlotte that are recently annexed into the area, and how do we now provide them the same level of service that we provide to the rest of our residents that have been a part of the city of Charlotte for a long time. If you even look at this map, you see where they are is like surrounded by ETJ. This is literally and holistically the area of Charlotte where we have a ton of upwardly mobile, working class humans that don't have lights on their roads, that don't have sidewalks, that still have two-lane highways or two-lane streets. And so when we think about right now, we have a strategic investment area. We're coming for you, I promise, as much as we can afford. Harrisburg Road, this council is spending $20 million to put lighting and sidewalks along 5 miles of Harrisburg Road. This council is spending $73 million right now to widen and add infrastructure to Robinson Church Road. So we're coming as fast as we can afford, but there's so much still to do out in that area that to the extent that we have funds, this council is definitely looking at that area and areas across this city to make those, you know, strategic investments so that we can, you know, serve our residents to the degree that we can afford to do so. So I want you to understand that we have, you know, an equal commitment to you and understanding the constraints. Now, before I saw a site plan, I want you to know that my counterpart in this work is County Commissioner Mark Jarrell. He's actually your neighbor. So when I saw the plan, I called Mark and I'm like, hey, Mark, I seen this project that's close to your house. I was like, I'm gonna have Colin call you up. And, you know, it's because, of course, you know, what we do, it works together, but to call him in, we've actually done more than one meeting together with staff. We brought in, I'm looking at, how you doing? He was on the call. So we actually I had county staff and city staff on the call. I've had planning on the call so that we can make sure that our resources are working together for you guys too, right? So the county's got some great plans out there that I wish he was signed up to speak, because I would love for him to be able to tell you all of the exciting things that are coming to you from a county perspective that's literally, and I mean literally, fitting together with what we're doing from a city perspective out in the Far East. But since he lives there, I was like, hey, Mark, because he's always telling me, like, we don't have enough, like, businesses out there. It's all residential. There's nowhere to go get a cup of coffee. He's always telling me stuff like that. So that's what we talked about, and that's why this was attractive to me immediately when I heard it, because there was this component of business in it. So I'm like, I put it in front of Mark. We had meetings. We've talked about it. And even today, so just to let you know, I definitely, we're going to set up another meeting. I want to see where we can meet in the middle, because I would love for us to be able to provide, if we can get to what staff needs and make sure that you're protected. I'd love to be able to give you what I hear so many of you are asking for with regards to there being something simple to do, somewhere simple to go and enjoy with your families out there, instead of it just being all residential is what I continue to hear. So, but I even got an email today that was actually sent to the whole of staff. Have you ever heard of an organization called Charlotte East? It's more inland. It's further inland. It's closer to Eastland. Who's also the executive director of that organization, is one of your neighbors too. And he reached out to the council today when he saw this petition on the agenda. And even he's interested in, for he and his growing family, like having more amenities that are close to you guys so that you can, you know, have those resources finally. So I look forward to, you know, having additional conversations with you to see where we can meet in the middle. I'm not promising you streetlights because we can't afford it yet, but, you know, with the right resources, you know, our plan is to provide you that basic responsibility as a Charlotte citizen, a Charlotte resident that you deserve, with the right financial resources. So thank you for coming here today. Colin has been, since I've been on the council, Colin has been a really honest broker, good partner. When I first told him about, you know, County Commissioner Jarrell, you know, he got us all on a call. He got city staff, county staff on a call, and we've done that now more than once. So I look forward to talking to you and seeing what we can do. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Is there a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor of closed public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you all for coming out this evening. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 14, petition number 2025-042 by Brian Easley. The location is approximately 6.42 acres, located on the north side of Tom Hunter Road, east of Ventura Way Drive, and west of Hidden Stream Court in District 1, my district. The current petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to site and building design. After staff's presentation, Mr. Easley, you will have up to 10 minutes, and then Ms. Parker will have 10 minutes, and you will have a 2-minute rebuttal. Thank you.
Good evening. Petition 2025-042 is approximately 6.42 acres located on the north side of Tom Hunter Road, west of Hunter Oaks Lane, and east of Hidden Stream Court. Property is largely wooded, is occupied by 3 single-family dwellings. Current zoning is N1B. Proposed zoning is N2B, conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal is for a community of 168 multifamily stacked dwellings. It would restrict all units to workforce housing at an average of 60% of the area median income, would limit building height to 48 feet, commits to building modulations of at least 10 feet in length every 60 feet in building length for buildings fronting Tom Hunter Road. Porches and stoops would be predominant architectural features and would be at least 6 feet in depth. To implement an 8-foot planting strip and 8-foot sidewalk along the site's frontage of Tom Hunter Road. Relocates the Tom Hunter Road curb and gutter to 24 feet from center line to enhance the bicycle lane in accordance with Charlotte Streets map. Provides a 10-foot Class C landscape yard with 6-foot tall fence along the site's eastern, northern, and western property boundaries, and also identifies a centrally located open space and amenity area of greater than 25,000 square feet. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to site and building design. It is inconsistent with the policy map recommendation for neighborhood 1 place type. Located in an area with a mix of multifamily and single-family residential development, this petition proposes a moderately intense multifamily development that is mindful of existing land use patterns as well as the necessity for attainable housing. The site is less than a quarter mile from bus stops for CATS Route 211 and less than 1 mile from the Tom Hunter Blue Line Station. The site is also across Tom Hunter Road from Tom Hunter Park, and the petition commits to providing workforce housing at an average of 60% of area median income. I will turn it over to the petitioner and members of the community.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Easley.
Yes, thank you. So Joe, there we go. Perfect. Well, yes, thank you. So my name's Brian Elsey. I'm the owner of the Prime Company. I'm here with my twin brother, Chris Elsey. We're from Manhattan, Kansas, but I'm thankful to be here. And we'll share a little bit about our project. And yeah, I guess before I get started, I really want to thank you guys for allowing the Boy Scouts to come. I'm a Boy Scout, actually an Eagle Scout, and I can remember I grew up in Denver, Colorado, and so coming to an event like this, and so it's just great to do a community event like that and have people in the community, and especially young men, and here I am today sitting in front of you for something like that. So I appreciate you guys being so welcoming to the Scouts and doing that. So, but yeah, let me talk a little bit about us and our project. So this is there on Tom Hunter Boulevard, and as Joe said, we think this is a great infill location. So we've got apartment complexes to the north and to the south, and to the west of us, and it will be workforce or affordable housing at a 60% AMI. And so I think, a lot of us, when we hear that, it doesn't really register what that means. So when I wanted to break this down. So when we say affordable housing, so that these are restricted rental rates, and so for a 1-bedroom apartment, the rent differential per month, it's going to average about $158 a month. Okay, a 2-bedroom apartment, that's $319 a month, and on a 3-bedroom, it's $497 a month. So that's a discount to market rent. Okay, and so that's substantial. And so I read a lot of the council members, your bios. We always do that. Obviously living in Kansas, I'm not local, so I'm trying to learn about you guys and your community. And I saw a lot about affordable housing. And I think Mayor Pro Tem, you had actually grown up in some affordable housing. So I know it's a really important thing to this community, and I think it's a great tool to use, and I think this is a great location to do that. And so when I do say workforce housing, so again, these are your first responders, these are teachers, construction workers. They're folks that are earning about 60% of the average median income. So to put that in perspective, it's about $100,000 here in Mecklenburg County. So that's somebody that makes between $40,000 and $60,000 a year, okay? Here's our location. I think Joe already touched on this. Here's our kind of a preliminary site plan again. So in this map, north is, well, to my left. And so, yeah, as I said, there to the west and to the north, we do have multifamily housing. To the east is a single-family home housing development, and then to the south is Tom Hunter Park. And I actually walked that park this afternoon right after we flew in. It's a beautiful park. It's a great asset to the community. And so I'm really excited about our residents hopefully being able to use that facility. We did do a neighborhood meeting with the Hidden Valley Neighborhood Association. When I reached out to you, Mayor Pro Tem, prior to having our neighborhood meeting, we had a Zoom call, and I don't know if Marjorie's, she's probably here.
She's right behind you.
All right, Marjorie, sorry. Marjorie, so yeah, we had a good conversation, and so, some of their concerns, and we hear this a lot when we're in communities, is of course traffic along Tom Hunter Boulevard, and I think we'll have somebody here from a traffic engineer from the city. So they did say that they had looked at it with our trip calculations, and they had not recommended a TIA, which is a traffic impact analysis. So when typically when we're doing developments, if there is a significant traffic issue or they don't think that the street will be able to hold, that capacity, they'll order us to do a traffic impact analysis. And the staff's not recommending that currently. So when I hear that, that to me means that there should be adequate capacity off of Tom Hunter Boulevard. The second question that the Hidden Valley folks had asked us about was they wanted us to explore potentially finding another exit off of our parcel to the north there, and that's an adjacent apartment complex. And I have reached out to those guys 3 or 4 times and have unfortunately not been able to get any response out of them. And so that's not really surprising to me. If I owned the neighboring apartment complex and another guy was planning to build a new apartment complex that would be a direct competitor, I really wouldn't be that helpful either, because that would kind of hurt my business. So not super surprising that they're not very responsive. But yeah, that's really it on, I want to share, I guess, just a couple of projects that we've done in the past. So being in Manhattan, Kansas, we've got to build all over the country. So this is a project we built in Los Angeles, just finished up. This is 85 units. We're a little bit unique as far as the development firm goes in that we're vertically integrated. So I have my own in-house architecture team. We've got about 15 architects that work for us. We act as a general contractor, so we handle all the construction process, and then we also do all the property management when we're done. And so we haven't sold any of our properties to date. We like to hold on to them. So you saw there, we want to love our neighbors. So we want to try to be the best neighbor we can to the folks, and we hold on to these assets and want to take good care of them. This is another site in Lawrence, Kansas, just down the road from us in Manhattan. It's 250 units. We're just starting construction on that. And then this site is in Oceanside, California. It's 179 units. I mentioned kind of how we're vertically integrated. So when you're dealing with us, it's really just one company. So there's nobody to point a different finger at if something doesn't go right. It's all coming back on us. And that's really it. So I would really love to get your guys' feedback, and we'll be look forward to hearing any comments that folks have, and would love to get your support for our project. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Parker, you can come up, and once you reach the podium, you will have 10 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem.
Good evening.
Council, Zoning Committee, and City staff. I am Marjorie Parker, President of the Hidden Valley Community Association. We are here tonight to strongly oppose rezoning petition 2025-042, which seeks to change the zoning for 908 Tom Hunter Road from an N1B to an N2B to allow for 168 additional apartments. We thank our residents for attending. We also have 260 plus petitions against this rezoning. Residents know firsthand that adding more apartments without meaningful infrastructure investment will exacerbate traffic dangers, reduce mobility, and further limit our quality of life. We met via Zoom with Mr. Elsey on 2 different occasions to outline the changes needed before additional apartments could be considered by the community. One of our top changes were, since they almost directly across from the park, that we needed a lighted pedestrian crosswalk with push buttons for the children to cross the street. And we do have a lot of children that come from the apartments and cross the street. We also asked for a comprehensive cumulative traffic study incorporating all area development in that area. We asked for 2 entrances and 2 exits to lighten the congestion, to reduce the congestion that would come out to Tom Hunter Road. And we asked for a long-term infrastructure plan that supports mobility, safety, and community cohesion. Unfortunately, his response did not address our concerns. While we welcome thoughtful community-serving development, we cannot support dense apartment construction at this location without critical safety and infrastructure improvements. Our neighborhood needs businesses like coffee shops, restaurants, grocery stores that are easily accessible to residents, not another influx of high-density housing without proper planning. Hidden Valley has long borne the brunt of systemic neglect. We're getting some attention now, and I'm happy for that. Many residents were not aware that Tom Hunter was zoned a N1B, largely because we already had 3 apartment complexes on that road built without sufficient community input or infrastructure investment. Hidden Valley is boxed in on 2 sides by major state roads, North Trine and Sugar Creek. Just try getting out at 9 o'clock in the morning or at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The lack of infrastructure investment has left our neighborhood vulnerable to traffic hazards and safety risks. Church signs have been destroyed by vehicles. Multiple residents have been injured in collisions caused by reckless driving between North Trine, Sugar Creek, and Reagan Drive. And Tom Hunter has become a cut-through street. I myself was at a red light in Hidden Valley, but was hit from a car knocked off of North Trine backward into me while I'm waiting at a red light in Hidden Valley. My Vice President, George Johnson, brick wall from cut-through traffic has been knocked down 3 times due to speeding drivers cutting through our neighborhood. Yes, we've worked with CDOT and we've worked with CMPD. These are not isolated incidents. They are reality for our residents. If apartments are built on Tom Hunter, we're gonna have to worry about the safety of those children. And they do come over to the park without their parents, unfortunately. And we're gonna have to worry about seniors trying to get out of Hidden Valley, because that will be our 3rd state road that will completely block us in. We urge you to reject petition 2025-042 and work with us toward development that serves, not harms our community. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. So you will have 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Yeah, so there's a really acute need for affordable housing here. So I went and toured 2 other affordable housing projects that are adjacent, less than a 2-minute drive from this location, and they have a waiting list for their units. And so I empathize with the council. I think you're in a really tough spot. You typically have single-family home owners that don't want to see any change or any development that comes in a parcel next to them. And it's always, well, we like affordable housing, but not this location. This isn't the right spot. And I think you're in a tough spot. I realize that as city council members, but I do think this is the right spot. The questions about the traffic signal or the pedestrian walk, I did mention that, hey, we'd be more than willing if we set up a benefit district. Like we're not causing all of the residents that are going to be coming across it. I'd be more than willing to be a part of a benefit district that helps pay for that traffic, for that light, but I wasn't unilaterally going to say, yeah, we'll just pay for that. Okay, I heard already that those traffic signals, they're expensive building those. So we'd be more than happy to participate if there was to create a benefit district, and everyone that signed that petition, where we would all share in the cost of that, more than willing to do that. But yeah, I don't think, as far as the safety concerns with the road, I mean, we have a traffic analysis that says that there is adequate traffic with the road there, that that it can handle the additional capacity. So I think when we look at it, we've got apartment complexes already there, that this is the right location. But I do empathize with you. I do think it's a tough spot. You've got a lot of single-family homeowners there to the south. But not everybody can afford, as it was mentioned earlier, a couple $100,000 down to own a
You
single-family
have 10
home.
seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We will start with Ms. Watlington.
Thank you. My questions are really center around this idea of traffic and safety, because I understand certainly that it's incremental. We've had plenty of conversations about the comprehensive, the overall impacts of development on traffic concerns. That said, once this is in the ground, the concerns that they brought up from a safety standpoint really cannot wait until we have the money to pay for infrastructure improvements. So I'm wondering two questions. The first one is, when we look at our TIA, what are we considering in terms of safety, and how do we consider historical risk versus just the trips per day? And then the second part of that question is, if there was to be some kind of voluntary benefit contribution by the developer, do we have the opportunity to close the rest of the funding gap to get something on the ground in time with the development?
Good evening. So to your first question about the traffic safety, when we perform analysis of petitions, if there is safety issues that are concerns along where there would be a new driveway access, then we would take a look at some mitigation measures. In this case, the Tom Hunter Road area where this site is specifically doesn't have any historical high injury network classification. As a greater analysis, when we do the larger traffic studies, which is not done with a petition like this, we would consider improvements to intersections when we review crash history and things like that. So in this case, there is no traffic study. It's a smaller petition from a traffic perspective, but we do review the frontage for access concerns. To your second question, sometimes we do have the ability to close a gap in signal funding or things like that. At this point, without having further conversations, we would have to see where that would stand for a pedestrian crossing at this location.
Thank you. That'll be something that I'll be particularly interested in when this one comes back to us, because it sounds like even though there's not criteria that meets this high-risk intersection, we've just heard a couple of anecdotal stories where residents have concerns. And so we certainly don't want to wait until something happens, God forbid, a child or someone is hit, before we do something about it. So I'd love to get an understanding of what could be here and how much that would cost, and then an understanding from the petitioner on what they might be willing to contribute so that we can solve the problem rather than waiting for it to find us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you to Ms. Parker and Hidden Valley Association for coming out. Thank you also to the developer. Yes, as Dr. Watlington mentioned, I've talked about cumulative impact for a long time. And Ms. Parker mentioned several apartment complexes in that area. I would be curious to know what's been approved lately, if we could have some type of map. I know I asked for those things in District 4 for the approved and by right development, so we can see the cumulative impact. I know that's not listed, and we look at developments, independently, but the neighbors feel it. They feel all of the approvals and the traffic. So I'd like to know what is out there. And I know the developer, I understand that this is your petition and you feel like it shouldn't be your problem. I get that. But the neighbors do feel it, so if there's something, and when Hidden Valley was in District 4, in my district, there was a developer that did donate for traffic improvements. So that's certainly, a concession or something we can possibly talk about, and if the city is able to fill in that gap. But I'd like to know what has been approved in that area, because in our book, we only have 2 petitions, and we know that area is changing rapidly. So I think that would be something fair for us to consider. Another thing, when you talk about cumulative impact, in our book, it says that Julius Chambers, this petition alone is going to change Julius Chambers' capacity to 128% at capacity. We know that our children are having challenges in schools, so these are the kind of things that we want to take a look at. So I appreciate your coming out and speaking, but just from a policy perspective, I think it would help us to really, to get a bird's eye view of what's going on over there. So that, because the neighbors, and I know, we know these residents, they're not, they don't come and talk about and have that NIMBYism and say, not in my backyard. These are valid concerns. So I would like to, again, have a map or a list of what's been approved in the last 2 years within 1 mile of this area, so that we can see what the impact truly has been. And I'm going to push, again, this is something we should be looking at as a city. We shouldn't be looking at these independently. I'm looking at these. This petition in this area is going to impact the school, Julius Chambers, to 128%. I'm curious if there are any other in the book tonight.
Title I school?
You know, the book tonight in that same area, and we're not adding those percentages together. So that's all I have. I look forward to continued work and hope that there can be some accommodations. A lighted pedestrian crosswalk, I mean, those kind of things seem reasonable to me. And then the 2 entrance and 2 exits, they ask for that. How many entrance and exits are currently designed?
There's 1 entrance and exit off of Tom Hunter Road, and that's our only public road that we're accessible. The Tara Lane is a private road off of the developer to the north.
Okay, well, I hope you can continue to work with the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This question is for, well, a comment for Ms. Marjorie Parker. I heard you spoke for about 8 minutes, and I really appreciate you having the leadership that you have in Hidden Valley, a historic community. Thank you for when you see the Z go up, you know, the Z go up and you gather together and you lead your community to come down. Leadership and community engagement is very important in these projects. They matter. And so I just want to say to you on the record publicly, thank you, because I've watched you grow and develop your community into a caring and nurturing community that care about the character of your community and what goes on in your community. And we need more of that. So I wanted to give you a round of applause for stepping up and being a leader of excellence in the historic Hidden Valley community. So thank you so much for that. And I know we'll see you more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a couple questions, and you both can stay there. First of all, thank you, Mr. Elsey, for reaching out to me. I was able to have a meeting with you very, very early on, even before there was an actual petition number for this petition. And I was able, of course, I directed you to Ms. Parker, and we've been in touch a couple of times about this particular initiative. So this area is in particular, Tom Hunter is a road that has a lot of high-speed vehicles going through because they're connecting from one side of the Sugar Creek corridor over to North Tryon. So there's a lot of high-speed traffic that comes through there. I too would like Mr. Carpenter to see what the cumulative impact is for some of the approved sites, because we know we have the Hoover Townhomes that are right there at the end, and then we also have another townhome development that's going in on the same road but closer to North Tryon. And so that is bringing in additional trips as well. So I also believe that, you know, the park, Tom Hunter Park is a great park. Hidden Valley Neighborhood Association has their National Night Out in that park annually, so it's a big park, it's a nice park. And with this particular project, I believe it's adding 168 multifamily units. That means you're gonna have a lot of people, but also children who are gonna want to, with excitement, run across that street and get to that park after school and on the weekends. And so I would like to see if we could, I know you all have had some conversations around a hybrid beacon crosswalk, but I would like to see if you all could continue to come together to work on that, because with the additional children and their children already there, it's prime for a potential accident to happen. In particular, with the one ingress and egress out of this property with 168 units. That means you're going to have lots of cars, probably close to 400 cars, coming in and out all the time, and there's no real safe way to cross that street or even get out of this particular complex. And so I think looking at some safety options, Mr. Carpenter, whether it's a hybrid beacon crosswalk, maybe it's some kind of light system that could go in, but there needs to be a safe way to get across that street. Now, sir, I know you've said that you've been in contact with the subdivision that's abutting this particular site about an additional egress and ingress. But maybe while you're here, you can sort of push to have those conversations. I just think that's a lot of cars to be coming in and out of just one particular entry on a road that has high speed, very high speed cars going back and forth. So I really wanted to make sure that we can continue to have those conversations. Mr. Carpenter, did you want to come up and make any comment about any potential safety options here from a traffic calming measure or crosswalks, et cetera?
I'll just say that after being made aware of some of the concerns about the crossing here and the access to the park for not only the new development but existing residents along Tom Hunter, that we've done some internal discussion on whether crossing could be approved here, and I think there's preliminary support for the crossing, and so we just have to have more conversations about what's available from a city perspective as far as partnership to make it happen, or what the developer can offer us to assist in creating something at this location.
Okay, great. I think the four of us need to continue that conversation, because I think that's a really important aspect that the community is really wanting and has been asking for several times. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. So this is our hearing, and I think we have some additional conversations and some additional work to do, which of course, Ms. Carpenter, Ms. Parker, I echo what Ms. Brown said. You have done a fantastic job leading the Hidden Valley neighborhood, and thank you to all the residents coming out, because this is important, and this is potentially a lot of families being added to a neighborhood. So if we're going to do it, we need to make sure that it's done right and built into the fabric and context of what the neighbors would like. I also didn't see any sort of renderings of what you are looking to potentially build. Do you have renderings of what would potentially be there?
We don't at this time. Typically with it's my understanding with the zoning is you set kind of a baseline of what type of setbacks and different things, and then as you develop your building permit, you put together all the elevations. I think that's how it works. Is that right, Joe?
We typically don't have elevations for rezoning petitions.
Yeah. It's just, this is a historical community, a longstanding community in Charlotte. It'd just be very interesting to see, or at least hear about the vision for this site and how it would fit into the fabric of that area. So that's all I have for this evening. Any additional comment?
Move to close.
Second.
All right, there's a motion to close and second. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Parker, and thank you to the residents of Hidden Valley for coming out. And with that, we will move on to agenda item 15. There it is. It was hiding. Agenda item 15. Rezoning petition number 2025-060 by Mecklenburg County. The location is approximately 27.47 acres on the east side of East W.T. Harris Boulevard, north of Albemarle Road and south of Hickory Grove Road and District 5, Miss Molina's district. The current zoning is R220 MFCD. Proposed zoning is N2CEX. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation and site and building design. There are no opposition signed up to speak, so after staff's presentation, Mr. Carmichael, you will have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. As mentioned, 2025-060 is located on the east side of W.T. Harris Boulevard. It's approximately 27.5 acres. Current zoning is R20 MFCD, multifamily residential conditional, and the proposed zoning is N2C EX, neighborhood 2C exception. 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 2 place type, so this proposed plan is consistent with the policy map. A little background, the site was rezoned in 1988 and was proposed to be developed with 251 multifamily stacked units. That approved plan was never developed and the site is currently vacant. Proposal calls for the development of a public park. Petitioner requests an exception provisions as specified by Article 37 of the ordinance. So they'll have to include a sustainability benefit and a public amenity benefit. Sustainability benefit will include the preservation of on-site open space above and beyond what's required by the ordinance, and the public amenity benefit will include an inclusive playground in addition to passive amenities such as walking trails and a multi-use lawn. Following exceptions are requested in lieu of including new streetscape improvements along the frontage of W.T. Harris Boulevard. The existing sidewalk and street trees will remain. However, the petitioner does plan to install the required streetscape improvements after completing phase 2 of the park development, and assuming that they receive funding from the project from Mecklenburg County. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation, site, and building design. As the proposed zoning is consistent with the policy map, the N2 place type supports public open spaces such as parks and community amenities and sites served by transit. I'm happy to take any questions following Mr. Carmichael's presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Carmichael.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council and the zoning committee. I'm John Carmichael here on behalf of the county. With me tonight are Jennifer Brooks and Bert Lynn with the county, and they're here to answer any questions you may have. Max did a very thorough job going through the request. Just briefly, it is zoned right now R20 MFCD, and the approved plan would allow 251 multifamily units. This proposal is to rezone the site to N2CEX. If the petition were approved, the only permitted use of the site would be a public park. The EX is to request the exception that Max described. Simply put, it is to allow the existing sidewalk and streetscape improvements located along the site's frontage on East W.T. Harris Boulevard to remain in place. The county would have the intent to install new streetscape improvements when they receive funding for those improvements. That is a long frontage, it's about 2,000 feet. So it's an expensive undertaking, but they'd like to get the park, phase 1 of the park developed, phase 2, provide the benefit to the community, and then when they get funding for the streetscape improvements, to implement those. But once again, there is an existing sidewalk located along that site's frontage. And we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Ms. Molina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. And thank you so much for the presentation. This is one that we've talked about that I'm very excited about. Park space is something that not only I, but the residents on the east side are very excited about. I've heard so many good things about this particular park. Commissioner Jarrell and I, we've talked extensively about this particular park. So I just want to put you guys in the area that we're talking about. So Albemarle Road and W.T. Harris, where it meet, you come off of Albemarle, turn on W.T. Harris, literally like past, in front of Spark Central.
Not so bad.
So you got Spark Central kind of across the street, and literally the park is almost adjacent to it. Mr. Driggs and I, we've talked about this because there's another petition that we're going to be working on with staff that just, don't make a whole lot of sense, but we can work through that. But this right here, another win for green space and park space in East Charlotte where families can go and enjoy. So I'm very excited about this, this particular petition. So thank you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ajmer?
Yes, thank you. I echo what my colleague, Councilmember Molina said, and also thanks to county staff. I know that in past couple of years, you all have ramped up your acquisition for park space. We really appreciate it. I hear that from a lot of our neighbors I live on the east side, and I just appreciate how you have made very intentional investments throughout the city in our preserving our park space and acquiring more. We certainly appreciate that. Thank you.
And Madam Mayor Pro Tem, Bert's an East Sider. So it actually works because, to have somebody who's involved, who understands. Thank you for the work. The park has also along Albemarle Road, or the county along Albemarle Road, in addition to this park, has acquired land for a library. They got a library coming down the pipeline. I mean, there's so many things that are working in tandem with what we're doing on the city side from the parks, or from the Mecklenburg County side, that just, you're making progress across our city. So like I said, this is great. I echo the sentiments of Council, Woman Ashmira, park, library, keep it coming. Great
Tennis court?
job. What?
Oh, I thought you said tennis court.
Oh, look,
Selective listening.
I got one of my colleagues here who is like tennis court, hint, so pull him into a meeting, like.
Tennis courts too.
Yeah.
That's Christmas wish coming true soon.
Yeah. But just very, very excited. Thank you guys on the county side for your partnership and your work.
Thank you. Is there a motion to close public
So
hearing?
moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Carmichael. You stay there because we're moving on to agenda item number 16, petition number 2025-043 by the City of Charlotte. The location is 2.37 acres, located on the south side of Chipley Avenue, west of Paul Buck Boulevard, and east of Monroe Road in District 1, my district. The current zoning is N2B. Proposed zoning is CAC 1. Staff recommends approval, and after staff's presentation, Mr. Carmichael will have you. Are you not number 16? Oh, is there no one to speak?
He'd be happy to bill him.
Ms. Chloe, Madam Clerk, there's no speaker for 16. Excellent. So proceed, please. Thank you.
Thank you. The site is under 2.5 acres along Chipley Avenue, adjacent to the Bojangles Coliseum complex, just west of East Independence Boulevard there. Site is currently zoned Neighborhood 2B, and the petitioner is proposing to go to Community Activity Center 1. That is consistent with the policy map's recommendation for the Community Activity Center place type at this site. This is a conventional petition, meaning we do not have an associated site plan for it. This is a city-owned property abutting the Bojangles Coliseum complex, and the petition would bring the site into consistency with the policy map. The CAC 1 zoning district includes standards to buffer and transition uses adjacent to more sensitive areas like the Neighborhood 1 place type. There are no outstanding issues, and staff recommends approval of this petition. I'll be happy to take questions.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Move to close.
Thank you. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That's unanimous. We will go on to agenda item number 17. Petition number 2025-081 by the City of Charlotte on behalf of Samaritan's Purse. The location is approximately 2.9 acres located on the west side of Nations Ford Road, south of Red Roof Drive, and north of Forest Point Boulevard in District 3, Ms. Brown's district. The current zoning is IMU, proposed zoning is OFC. Staff recommends approval of this petition, and again, there are no speakers, so please proceed.
Petition 2025-081 is approximately 2.9 acres located on the west side of Nations Ford Road, south of Red Roof Drive, and north of Forest Point Boulevard. The site is currently vacant. Current zoning is IMU. Proposed zoning is OFC, Office Flex Campus. 2040 policy map recommends the innovation mixed-use place type. Staff recommends approval of this petition as consistent with the IMU place type. The OFC zoning district is intended to address large-scale office research and medical campuses that may include some light industrial components, with supporting uses primarily designed to serve the everyday needs of employees and visitors. The site is adjacent to properties zoned OFC to the north and east. The site is under common ownership with the adjacent warehouse facility that is zoned I-1CD and recommended for the IMU place type. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay.
Move to close the public hearing.
Hold on, I got one
All right, I
question
have
for-
Ms. Brown.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just saw on here, I watched that there was no one at all that showed up for the community meeting at all. I know it's still Samaritan's Purse. It is within their vicinity? Zero, right?
That's correct. There were no,
Okay.
there was no one present.
Ms. Ajmira.
Yes, so, thank you. This rezoning petition is on behalf of
Samaritan's Purse.
Samaritan. So this is, the City of Charlotte is the petitioner. Is that, so I'm just trying to understand the relationship there.
Sure. There was an issue that the petitioner encountered in the permitting that we discovered was a bit of a mix-up that occurred with the text amendment. So this is an effort to assist the petitioner or assist the property owner with their development intentions.
I just want to, so there was an issue in the text amendment? So if you can just elaborate on that, I'm not following.
There was an issue with petitioner was, they previously rezoned 2 years ago.
Okay,
They were kind of caught by a text amendment, and we take the blame. We did not connect those dots.
got it. So it's sort of like
We're
correction.
trying to correct that issue.
Okay, I got it. All right, move to close.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. We will move on to agenda item 18, petition number 2024-141 by NVR Inc. The location is approximately 107.3 acres, located northwest of North Tryon Street, southeast of I-85, and south of West Mallard Creek Church Road in District 4, Ms. Johnson's district. The current zoning is CG, IC1, and N1A. Proposed zoning is N2BCD. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon outstanding issues related to design. And after staff's presentation, we will have Mr. Carmichael. Thank you.
Thank you. The site is 107 acres of vacant land in the University City area, generally located among commercial, multifamily, and campus uses serviced by multimodal transit options. The site is predominantly zoned Institutional Campus 1 and Neighborhood 1A, with a very small portion of the site to the southwest zoned General Commercial, southeast, sorry. The Neighborhood 2B is the proposed request for the site, which is consistent with the policy map's recommendation for neighborhood 2. The proposal is for up to 575 townhome-style units. Access to the site will be provided via Berkeley Place Drive, Salerno Drive, and Emerald Cove Drive. Accessible curb ramps would be reconstructed at the intersection of West Mallard Creek Church Road and Berkeley Place Drive, and the pedestrian signals would be made accessible. The traffic signal at this intersection will also be upgraded, and the northbound left turn lane on West Mallard Creek Church Road will be extended. A minimum of 5.3 acres on the site will be dedicated and conveyed to the county for a future public park, and 2 access trails from the new public right-of-ways on the site will be provided to connect to existing greenways along the southern portion of the site. The proposal includes enhanced open space commitments to ensure each unit can readily access open space areas and that these areas are adequately amenitized. And it provides preferred architectural and design details that are also committed to throughout the plan. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of a couple of outstanding issues related to site design. The proposal is consistent with the policy map's recommendation for neighborhood 2, and it's in an area that can generally support a multifamily product given its proximity to activity centers containing goods and services for future residents. It also has proximity to transit, including the Blue Line, and connections to existing greenways. This area of University City is characterized by a mix of multifamily development and activity center uses among those larger campus areas. And the proposal is contextually consistent with what is already in the area and what's envisioned for the future. I'll take any questions following petitioner comments.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carmichael.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, members of the zoning committee. I'm John Carmichael here on behalf of the petitioner. With me tonight are Scott Mundy, the petitioner, and Sean Tooley with Land Design. As Holly said, that site contains about 107 acres. It's located at the southern terminus of Berkeley Place between I-85 and North Tryon Street. This is an aerial of the site. It's undeveloped. The site is right here, and this is just a context map, and to let you know what the surrounding uses are. You've basically got all apartments and to the north and northeast of the site, except there is a parcel owned by Novant Health. To the south of the site, you've got apartments, a townhome community, and one single-family detached residential community. So from a contextual standpoint, land use standpoint, we think the proposal is consistent with what's around it in terms of surrounding uses. The site's currently zoned N1A, IC1, and CG. The request is to go to N2B to accommodate a community that would have up to 575 townhome units. The overall maximum density would be 5.36 units per acre. As Holly said, the rezoning request is consistent with the adopted policy map, which places the site in the N2 place type, and the parcels to the north and south are located in the N2 place type or in a neighborhood center place type. This is the site plan. You'd have vehicular access from Berkeley Drive, Salerno Drive, and then from Emerald Cove Drive to the south. Approximately 40 of the 575 townhome units will be located south of the creek. A maximum of 20% of these units could be front-loaded units. The remainder would be rear-loaded or alley-loaded units. Each unit would have a garage, and then amenitized open space would be dispersed throughout the site. Mallard Creek Greenway traverses the southern portion of the site, and then Barton Creek Greenway connects to the Mallard Creek Greenway on the site. Additionally, as Holly indicated, about 5.3 acres, a minimum of 5.3 acres of the site would be dedicated to the county for a future public park. There'd be 2 access trails from the residential community to Mallard Creek Greenway. You can access University Place, which is the mixed-use development to the south of the site, via the Barton Creek Greenway, and you can also access the J.W. Clay Boulevard Transit Station utilizing the Barton Creek Greenway. It's about a half-a-mile walk to that transit station. The community amenities, the greenways, and the public park would provide, we think, wonderful recreational opportunities. There's a lot of tree save, as you can see. University City Partners has issued a letter of support that we'll provide to you. We appreciate the planning staff's recommendation of approval, and we'll resolve the outstanding site plan issues this week. Happy to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you, John, for the presentation.
Thank you.
I look forward to the University City Partners letter. If you worked with John before, he does a great job in
Thanks.
reaching out to the council member and to the community and really bringing quality development too.
Absolutely. I love you.
So I appreciate the 5 acres dedicated to the park and, accessing the greenway. And I'll look forward to the letter and then we can talk more offline. I don't
Happy
have
to
any
do that.
questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
Ms. Brown?
Real quick, I'm sorry. Can I
Okay,
ask one
yeah,
question?
sure.
You mentioned one single-family neighborhood. Was there any neighborhood opposition to the petition?
So it's called Wellwyn. But we had a neighborhood meeting, 22 people attended, and I think they had some questions and some concerns, but Scott Mundy had subsequent conversations and meetings with them, and they have a concern about the quality of Emerald Cove Drive, but there are only 40 homes that would access Emerald Cove Drive. I will tell you, to be totally transparent, there are only 40 homes that would access Emerald Cove Drive, but we are dedicating, the petitioner would dedicate right-of-way across this creek for a future connection to be built by someone else, not the petitioner, presumably the city, at some point in the future, that would allow a car to travel from here on the northwest corner of the site across the creek to Emerald Cove Drive. So that could increase traffic on Emerald Cove Drive. I don't know when, if that would occur, if ever, but the right-of-way was requested to be dedicated by CDOT, and the petitioner agreed to do that. But we did have a meeting. It was very active, and then Scott has had individual meetings with those neighbors since the community meeting. So I'm not aware of any opposition, but I can't look at you now and tell you there's not any.
I'm not aware of any opposition, and the residents from Wellwind are welcome to reach out to me, and we can talk through that, but we can talk more offline. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Brown?
So, Councilmember Johnson, I know that I've echoed you with Mr. Carmichael. I've done a lot of work with him over the last year and a half, and it's been consistent with you
Thank you.
going out in the community, representing your people, making sure that you're transparent. You're just amazing. So I just want to say thank you.
Wow, thanks.
You are. You've been a joy to work with.
Thank you very much.
For
I
the
appreciate
record.
it. I feel the same way about y'all.
Thank you.
All right,
And last,
Ms. Ajmer?
yeah, thank you. I think we appreciate the kind of petition you bring forward. You put in a lot of due diligence before it comes forward and you try to address it. We certainly appreciate that. I think it doesn't go unnoticed, but I look forward to continuing to work with District Council Member Johnson on
She's
this.
the
Am I
bomb.
turning red?
You're not.
Just a little bit. All
John
right.
has been doing this for 20 years?
24, yeah.
It
Okay.
shows.
And can't you tell?
Councilmember Johnson's
He
gonna lead the
started
way.
this when he was 5.
Been a long
I don't
time.
like that. So you're 29 now.
That's right.
All right, move to close.
Second.
All right, all in
You know
favor,
you're gonna
raise
be here.
hands.
We'll be
Any
like that.
opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. And thank you all for coming out. We will move on to agenda item 19, petition number 2025-009 by Davis Moore. The location is approximately 40.43 acres located on the east side of Johnson Road and south side of Providence Road West, north of Donington Drive, and District 7, Mr. Driggs District. The current zoning is INSTCD, proposed zoning, INSTCD, SPA. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation, site, and building design. And after staff's presentation, we will have Ms. Grant join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Petition 2025-009 is a little over 40 acres located on the east side of Johnston Road, south of Providence Road West. It is partially developed with a hospital and medical offices. Current zoning is institutional conditional. Proposed zoning is institutional conditional site plan amendments. The 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood one place type. Actually, scratch that, it should be campus place type, the teal color.
The proposal is for an additional 56,000 square feet in medical office uses for a total of almost 107,000 square feet of medical office uses, as well as 48 beds and 13,000 square feet of additional health institution uses for a total of 216,000 square feet and 96 beds of health institution uses. Would maintain previously approved development standards, including setbacks, permitted use limitations, architectural standards, and environmental features. Would also maintain approved transportation commitments with the conversion of the right-in, right-out access on Providence Road West and Access A to an unsignalized crossover with a westbound left turn lane with 100 feet of storage on Providence Road West. Staff recommends approval of the petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation and site and building design. It is consistent with the campus place type and would allow for minor increases in square footages to already permitted uses. I'll take any questions following the petitioner's comments.
Okay. Welcome, Ms. Grant.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, members of the zoning committee. My name is Bridget Grant. I'm a land use consultant with Moore & Van Allen. John's a hard act to follow, but I'll do my best. Here tonight on behalf of Davis Moore as well as Novant. This is really just a testament to how well the hospital is doing in this location. You can see on this aerial, everything is fully built out on the site, except we've got a building pad that's there that was anticipated for us to expand the hospital and the facilities. As staff mentioned, it's fairly narrow in the focus and the scope of the rezoning. It's really about two things. We'd like to be able to add 56,000 square feet of additional medical office, 13,000 square feet and 48 beds to the hospital functions. Other than that, everything on the campus is going to stay the same. The tree save that's between the existing residential or along the periphery of the site all remains intact. This really just gives us the ability to add a new building along the site's frontage. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Mr. Driggs.
Not a question, actually, just want to know we appreciate Novant's investment. We knew that more was going to be happening at this location, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. It was really, as I recall, about CONs and things like that.
Correct.
And so we're just realizing the full extent of what was discussed before. And again, I think residents will be grateful to have this option, this medical facility option. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Close.
Second.
All right. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That's unanimous. We will move on to agenda item number 20, petition number 2025-034 by Veer Homes LLC. The location is approximately 6.20 acres located south of Allison Lane, east of Allison Woods Drive, and west of Providence Road, again in District 7, Mr. Driggs' district. The current zoning is in 1A. Proposed zoning is in 2B, CD. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation, site, and building design. After staff's presentation, we will have Mr. Brown again. Thank you.
Petition 2025-034 is approximately 6.2 acres located on the west side of Providence Road, south of Interstate 485, and east of Allison Woods Drive. Current zoning is N1A. Proposed zoning is N2B conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal would allow for 79 multifamily attached quadruplex, triplex, and duplex units. Buildings could contain a maximum of 6 single-family dwellings and maybe a maximum of 140 feet in length. Up to 4 buildings could contain 6 dwelling units. Building height would be limited to 48 feet. Blank wall expanses on corner and unit facades facing public streets would be limited to 20 feet. Committing to internal tree plantings along private alleys at a 40-foot spacing. Committing to providing amenitized open space that will include at least 4 of the following elements: enhanced planting in excess of minimum standards, specialty paving materials, shading elements, seating options, a minimum dimension of 30 feet in all directions, and decorative lighting. Would implement an 8-foot planting strip and 8-foot sidewalk along the site's Allison Lane and Allison Woods frontage, as well as an 8-foot planting strip and 12-foot multi-use path along the Providence Road frontage. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation and site and building design. The petition is inconsistent with the policy map recommendation for the N1 place type. This portion of the Providence Road corridor hosts a number of commercial uses, institutions, and moderately dense multifamily projects, among other residential projects. The petition provides a transition between the Community Activity Center of Providence Road and the less intense residential areas to the west of the site. The petition proposes a mix of residential housing types, including multifamily attached, quadruplexes, 1 duplex, and 1 triplex. The petition's building forms are consistent with those seen in the adjacent multifamily attached development to the west, zoned MX1. The site is adjacent to a community activity center that is not accessible to pedestrians due to lack of sidewalk connectivity. I will take any questions following the petitioner's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Colin Brown on behalf of the petitioner, Veer Homes. This is the hard corner of Providence and 45, a site we've seen everything develop up around it. And I got to say, we've been watching this site for years, and I have to tell you, I thought it would be something much more dense than this proposal. So I think that's pretty welcome for folks in the community. I spoke with Councilmember Driggs several months ago before he filed, and I think it was fairly welcome news to him. So happy to have staff support on this petition. Again, there's the look. That's the 485 ramp. So to see someone coming to build kind of medium density for sale, your townhome type housing here, I think that's a good opportunity for the community. We are having some ongoing conversations with some of the neighboring property owners here, but I think everyone realizes that this site is going to develop. I think they're fairly pleased that it is medium density. Again, happy to have staff support. We are a little bit challenged. Staff is asking us to find a connection, PED connection to Providence Road. That is a struggle for us on topography and engineering reasons, but we'll continue working with them and folks in the community, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay. Any comments?
Move to close.
I have a question, I'm sorry.
Ms. Johnson?
Okay. I just want to talk about, again, cumulative impact, and we will definitely follow Councilmember Driggs' lead on this, but I noticed that the capacity for Audrey Kell with this petition.
I noticed that too. It says 151%.
Yes.
We just rezoned two years ago that high school right up there. I think that is probably not the current number. So I saw the same thing you did. And I'd be very surprised with a new high school that's still the number, but we can check into that for you.
Okay, yeah, if you can do that, because there's another one in District 7, and it also says 151 to 152. So that's just an example of how we're not getting the information. So,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I saw the same thing. It looked funny to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Move close.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. We will move on to agenda item number 21, petition number 2025-040 by TDC Greenville LLC. The location is approximately 2.21 acres located west of Statesville Avenue, north of Callahan Street and south of Romeo Alexander Road in District 1, my district. The current zoning is MUD CD. Proposed zoning is MUD CD SPA. Staff recommends approval of this petition. And there's no speakers signed up, so we will have staff's presentation.
Petition 2025-040 is located on the west side of Statesville Ave. The site's approximately 2.21 acres and is currently undeveloped. The site's currently zoned MUD CD, Mixed Use Development District Conditional, and the proposed zoning is MUD CD SPA, and that is a site plan amendment to the existing zoning district. 2040 policy map recommends the Community Activity Center place type, and the MUD district is consistent with the CAC place type. A little background on the site. 2018, the 5.28 acre site was rezoned to MUD CD to allow the development of a multifamily project with up to 250 units. The maximum height was limited to 65 feet with the exception of this area along Calhoun Street, or Callahan Street, excuse me. The plan also committed to affordable housing standards, and this site plan amendment calls for increasing that maximum height in this area from 45 feet to 55 feet, and also revises the affordable housing standards. The new standards for affordable housing provide at least 10 affordable units, 5 per household earning between 60 and 80% AMI, and 5 units for those earning between 80 and 100% AMI. Staff recommends approval of this petition. The site aligns with the policy map recommendation. The site's located in an area that's been identified as lacking housing opportunity. Affordable housing commitments are proposed, and the site plan amendment doesn't alter the number of units approved under the previous plan, and the site's also served by transit. I'm happy to take any questions following Mr. Jackson's presentation.
Thank you. Just want to verify with the clerk, because on my list, I do not have anyone signed up to speak for this particular petition.
Correct. There are no speakers for this agenda item.
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to verify that. I will say that I'm very familiar with this particular project. I've actually been out to the site to view the site. I think it's in a good location, and there are a lot of positive attributes for this. My only question would be, and Mr. Oliver, I'm not sure if you can answer the question, but there was only one attendee for the neighborhood meeting. So, were you a part of that neighborhood meeting? 'Cause
I did not attend the neighborhood meeting. They do provide a community meeting report. I don't know every detail off the top of my head, but as you imagine, we let everyone know within, every property owner within 300 feet of the site. So there's a good chunk of that radius that's not necessarily houses.
Sure, sure. Nevertheless, I am familiar with this particular petition and this particular project, so thank you. Are there any additional comments?
Move to close.
Second.
All right, all in favor to close public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. We will move on to agenda item number 22. Petition number 2025-046 by Northway Homes LLC. The location is approximately .17 acres, located west of Tappan Place, north of Heron Avenue, and east of the plaza, and District 1, my district. The current zoning is CG. Proposed zoning is N1C. Staff recommends approval of this petition, and after staff's presentation, we will have Mr. David Murray. Thank you.
Thank you. This site is just under .2 acres, located just east of the commercial core of the plaza along Topham Place in an area that's generally pretty residential in nature, though it is just east of that commercial area. It is currently zoned general commercial, and they are proposing to go to neighborhood 1C. This is consistent with the policy map's recommendation for neighborhood 1 in this area. This is a conventional petition, so there is no associated site plan. Given that it is consistent with the policy map's recommendation for neighborhood 1 in this area, it brings the site into consistency and also compatibility with the surrounding single-family character of the neighborhood. Generally, that commercial designation on the site doesn't make as much sense, given that we are looking at a residential core of the neighborhood rather than being located along Plaza itself. So we believe that this is an appropriate shift to bring the site's entitlements into alignment with the surrounding zoning and away from commercial. And I'll take any questions.
Okay, Mr. Murray?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Questions?
Move to close.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Murray. We will move on to agenda item number 23. Petition number 2025-048 by Castle Bridge Residential Development. The location is approximately 7.96 acres located south of Sunset Road, west of Gutter Branch Drive, and east of Oakdale Road in District 2, Mr. Graham's district. Current zoning's in 1A, proposed zoning in 2ACD. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to site and building design, as well as transportation and a requested technical revision. After staff's presentation, we will have Ms. Grant join us again. Thank you.
Thank you. This site is just under 8 acres on the south side of Sunset Road in Charlotte's extraterritorial jurisdiction. This portion of the Sunset Road corridor has a mix of multifamily and single-family residential development. Site is currently zoned Neighborhood 1A, and the petitioner is proposing to go to Neighborhood 2A conditional. And that's consistent with what was approved recently and just to the west several months ago, which was a Neighborhood 2A conditional request as well, as you can see on this map. This is inconsistent with the policy map's recommendation for Neighborhood 1 at this site. The proposal is for up to 80 townhome-style units. A minimum of 50% of the buildings across the site would have no more than 4 units per building, so that's sticking more to N1 building forms. Connections will be made to the public streets that are proposed or existing to the east and west of the site, so to the N2A to the west, as well as the MX that's to the east. A 12-foot shared use path would be provided along Sunset Road. The proposal commits to preferred open space standards to ensure amenitization as well as minimum dimensions. Architectural standards exceeding UDO requirements are also committed to. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues. The site is directly abutting developments of similar residential product types, and although it's inconsistent with the policy map, it fits a number of the items that we look for in a place type change for Neighborhood 2, including its location along an arterial, being situated among similar N2 developments, and located near a designated activity center, among other items. And I'll take questions following petitioner comments.
Welcome, Ms. Grant.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, again, Bridget Grant, land use consultant with Moore & Van Allen. Pleased to be here on behalf of Castle Bridge Residential. Also with me tonight is Matt Langston with Landworks. Holly did a great job describing the site. As she mentioned, while it's inconsistent with the adopted land use policy, the site is currently wrapped with townhome developments on both sides, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any comment?
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Grant. We will move on to petition number 2025-049 by High Street District Development, Inc. The location is approximately 32.35 acres located east of Trivy Village Boulevard, south of North Tryon Street, and west of Hudspeth Road in the ETJ, closest to the County Commissioners District 3, Mr. Dunlap's district, as well as District 4, Ms. Johnson's district. The current zoning is N1A. Proposed zoning is N2ACD. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation and site design. After staff's presentation, we will again have Ms. Grant to join us. Thank you, or stay there.
This 32-acre site is located in the northeastern portion of the county near the Cabarrus County line in an area with a range of multifamily and single-family entitlements at varying stages of development. Site is currently zoned Neighborhood 1A, and they are proposing to go to Neighborhood 2A conditional, which is inconsistent with the policy map's recommendation for Neighborhood 1 of this site. The proposal is for up to 190 townhome-style units. A minimum of 50% of the buildings would contain 4 or fewer units, with no more than 10% of the buildings having 6 units, which is the maximum or most intense building type allowed on the site. Access to the site will be through extensions of existing and proposed public streets, which stub to the site, including an extension of the existing Trevor Village Boulevard along the southwestern edge of the site. The petitioner commits to dedicate and convey a minimum of 1 acre to the county for a future public park on the eastern portion of the site. The The plan includes preferred site design and architectural standards, as well as enhanced open space notes for amenitization as well as minimum dimensions. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of a couple of outstanding issues, which the petitioner has already begun addressing with us. The site is adjacent to projects proposed for multifamily uses, providing consistency with the land development pattern proposed in this petition. The petition would expand the proposed public street network in the area and is nearby commercial entitlements. And the proposal includes a commitment to future parkland, which future residents on this site and nearby projects may access. And I'll take questions following petitioner comments.
Thank you, Ms. Grant.
Good evening. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm here on behalf of High Street District Development with Tom Burr, who's with me tonight, as well as Eddie Moore with McAdams representing us on the design side. We appreciate Holly's recognition that though this is inconsistent with the adopted land use policy, it's adjacent to multifamily that's under construction as well as other townhome development. And so essentially our site is central and to the middle of all of that. We'll be working with staff to address any of the outstanding issues related to the site design. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. I apologize, the clicker's not working.
Okay. Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I would like to see a map of the approved and by right development near this area. I know it's in the ETJ, but it is near District 4. When I talk about cumulative impact, I want to bring your attention to the District 4 petition, item number 18. That had an impact on Julius Chamber High School. I think that it would increase to 128% capacity. And this petition says the same thing. Although the earlier petition had 575 multi-units, and this one has 190. So this is just another example of how we're not considering these petitions and the impact on infrastructure and schools cumulatively. So, and the residents feel it. So I would like a map of the pending and approved and by right development in this area so that we can take a look at this. Thank you.
Yep, I'll provide those maps.
Move to close.
Second. Thank you. All in favor, please raise hand. Any opposed? Thank you. We will move on to agenda item number 25, petition number 2025-050 by Charter Properties, Inc. The location is approximately 11.45 acres located on the northeastern corner of the intersection of Steel Creek Road and Brown Greer Road in District 3, Ms. Brown's district. The current zoning is N1A. Proposed zoning is N2B. Staff recommends approval of this petition, and after staff's presentation, we will have Mr. Carmichael. Thank you.
Petition 2025-050 is about 11.5 acres located on the northeastern corner of Steel Creek Road and Brown Greer Road. Site is vacant and currently zoned N1A. Proposed zoning is N2B conventional. The 2040 policy map recommends the N2 place type. Staff recommends approval of the petition as it is consistent with the N2 place type recommendation. The proposed N2B zoning is consistent also with a recently approved rezoning for a large mixed-use development just to the north of the site. And I will take any questions following the petitioner's comments.
Thank you, Mr. Carmichael.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of council and zoning committee, I'm John Carmichael. Here on behalf of the petitioner with me tonight is John Porter with Charter Properties. As Joe said, the site's about just under 11.5 acres, northeast corner of Steel Creek Road and Brown Greer Road, which are both state-maintained major arterials. This is an aerial of the site. This is a zoomed-out aerial, and it's for the purpose of showing you basically some existing nearby developments. Bearwick Town Center is located to the northwest of the site. There's additional commercial to the north of the site, and then you've got Pringle Square Apartments to the east of the site. The site is currently zoned N1A, and you've got MUDO zoning to the north, O2CD to the northeast, R12 MFCD to the east, and then N1A to the west and south. The request is to rezone the site to N2B to allow uses allowed in the N2B zoning district on the site. This is a conventional rezoning request. The adopted policy map places his parcel in the neighborhood 2 place type, so the rezoning is consistent with the policy map. This is the approved rezoning plan for the parcels to the north of this rezoning site. The rezoning site is here. It is outlined in green. There will be pedestrian and vehicular connectivity, or there would be, from this site to the development to the north. The development to the north is approved for a variety of uses, including office and medical office, a community hospital, commercial uses, and residential uses. So the N2B uses that would be developed on this site would be supportive of that mixed-use development to the north. And also, there'd be a lot of internal connectivity. So you could leave this site, travel through the parcel to the north, and get to Bearwick Town Center or the other commercial to the north without having to get on Steel Creek Road. You would have to cross Steel Creek Road to get to Bearwick Town Center, but you could do so at signalized intersections at Shopton Road West and Dixie River Road. We met with the Steel Creek Residents Association on May 13th, 2025 to share the proposal. And then they, as you probably well know, they respond with an email and give the board's position. And the board's position is that they are not opposed. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have. We appreciate staff's recommendation of approval.
Okay. Ms. Ashmere?
Thank you. Did you say the board was not opposed?
Not opposed, yes, ma'am.
So did they issue, or will they be issuing a letter of support? Or
And I can share this with Councilmember Brown. They send you an email following the meeting with their position, and I'm happy to forward that.
Sure.
That comes from Abdul.
So I look at this rezoning petition, there are about 11 and a half acres, and I see it's conventional. I'm just trying to understand how the decision was made to have it as conventional versus conditional.
Sure, it's consistent with the recommended place type, which is N2. The requested zoning being N2B.
Yeah, that was the reason. It was because it's consistent with the policy map.
Yeah, I know this is not a small site, so I like to see a site map. But again, this is up to the district council member. I'd be following district council members closely on that. I'd love to hear district council members' perspective on this, knowing that it's conventional, so we don't have a site map. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Okay. Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Carmichael. You are engaged with Steel Creek Residents Association, which is going to be well-rounded and beneficial for the community. And I know that we do not have a site map yet. Is there any talks about what it may look like or be?
Well, but since this is conventional rezoning, and Ms. Hagler-Gray may want to interject, we do know what we want, or excuse me, the developer knows what he wants to do. And in a neighborhood meeting or at a meeting with Steel Creek, you can show what his intent is.
Okay.
But legally, we couldn't do that here.
I got you.
We can meet with you offline.
All right, no problem. Steel Creek knows, so we'll get with them. But I have no other questions. I'll just reach out to Steel Creek Residents Association and see what their position is. You said that they support it.
Well, the way they phrase it is they're not opposed.
They're not.
They're not opposed means that they support it, because if they was opposed, they would be able to clear it.
Right. Yeah, and I'll forward this email to you.
Okay, thank you.
Happy to do it.
I have no further questions, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Ms. Molina?
And it's not traditional to speak after the district rep. I want to make sure that I'm clear in, again, I'm always trying to look for those opportunities for public consumption. Tell me, for public consumption, conventional, what does that mean?
Conventional means that the petitioner is requesting to develop under a specific zoning district with no additional conditions.
Okay. And that means we can see what they're going to do or not see what they're going to do?
We can look at the UDO, and we can look at the district that they are currently zoned. We can look at what they are proposing to go to, which has a list of permitted uses and development standards.
So that means based on what the, axed amount or the axed zoning type is, they'll have a list of permitted uses that they have to stay within, and they don't actually provide us what you would say a picture of what that would look like, but we got some guidance based on what the zoning type is. Am I saying that right?
Correct. The uses will be limited to what is allowed in that specific district. They will be held to all the development standards of that district without further paring it down in a conditional plan.
Okay. And in a conditional plan, they would actually be saying to us, this is what we do, this is what we intend to do, and there would likely be some type of condition that they would impose or be willing to. Can you give me that in comparison, please?
Right. It could be a limit on uses. It could be a specific number of a specific use, square footage or units. It could have transportation commitments. Right. But in a conventional, it is simply just, we would like to rezone to this district and develop under the standards of this other district.
Okay, thank you. Because a lot of the times when we're talking to community members and we're saying all these terms and stuff like that, I mean, even sometimes we got to come to y'all and ask y'all to kind of break it down if we don't know. I remember when I first started, I had no clue what any of that meant. So I can't even imagine our poor residents out there like, okay, they're hearing all these terms and things, and it could be confusing. So thank you for giving me that. That's all I have.
Ms. Hagler-Gray, did you have a comment?
I think Joe pretty much covered it. I just wanted to make sure we were answering your question that anything allowed in the district is what is possible for the potential site when you have a conventional plan. So it's limited to what is allowed in the district, but everything in the district is under consideration, so which is why you don't have a specific site plan.
That's good. That's really good to know. Thank you so much for that.
Okay. Okay, hang on. All of a sudden, everyone wants to talk on this. So Ms. Johnson, and then I have Mr. Driggs.
Okay, sure.
And then I'll come back.
Just to clarify to our city attorney, you said anything allowed in the district. You mean anything allowed on that site or that area?
Anything allowed in the UDO, any uses allowed in that particular district in the UDO.
Okay, so she doesn't mean just our districts, our 7 districts. You mean anything allowed?
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Right, yeah. Right, that's,
somebody hear that.
Right, yeah. It's not just the district, it's
Particular
anything that
zoning
would be allowed for the
That's
UDO.
correct.
I think it's a clarification.
But the reason it can be confusing, because we don't know, and I asked this question at the noon meeting when I was talking to Dave and Monica, when it's a conventional versus conditional. And one thing about conventional, it doesn't allow, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't allow us to work with the developer to get these type of concessions for the residents. We're limited on the input when it's a conditional. So we as council members, I'll speak for myself, frown upon conventional petitions, especially in residential districts, in District 4 for certain, right? I think you all know that. But when are we as a city allowing conventional? I would hope that we're allowing that less than conditional, just because these developments do have such an impact on current residents.
Yeah, so Ms. Johnson, I just want to make sure that we're not intruding on any of the petitioner's rights. And so if they have a right to submit a conventional petition, they have that right to do so. And I just want to make sure, Ms. Hagler-Gray, that we can walk that line of inquiry, but we want to make sure that we are not somehow putting a color or a light on one particular petition or another.
Yeah, I think, Councilmember Johnson, if you're just asking in general, when staff may be more supportive of conventional versus conditional, I think Dave can answer that question.
Thank you for understanding. Thank you.
David, did you have?
He's going to
He's
answer.
gonna answer.
Yeah, we can jump in and provide a response. So particularly when we look, I'll give this petition as an example. Joe had mentioned that it is consistent with the policy map. So we know that our policies that we adopted looked at this area and identified this as a spot for multifamily, whether it be townhomes or apartments. So we take that into consideration, knowing that we've already kind of viewed that and had community input on that outcome. We trust in the development standards in the UDO. We know we're going to get road connections from Ollie Drive, which is just next door here, so we're going to get a continuation of that street network because the ordinance requires that. So when we look at these starting out as, coming in for the pre-sub, and somebody says, hey, we want to go conventional, is it consistent? Yes, so we take that into consideration. Are there land uses around it that are compatible or similar in nature? In this case, we have townhomes next door and a large mixed-use project, which will provide connectivity as well. So land use impacts on adjacent properties are fairly minimal, and they're consistent with those types of development outcomes that are already next door. So we don't have, single family directly next to it or on the other side of it where we might need different buffers and those types of things. So we take all that in consideration, and we, let the petitioner know, yeah, this is probably a candidate to start out conventionally, but we also give them full transparency that as they talk with the community, as they talk with the district reps, as they talk with other folks that are involved in the project, if they start to see that conditions are warranted, they could always pivot and add those conditions. But in a petition like this, where we see it's consistent, the land use impacts are fairly minimal to those adjacent properties. We know what our standards are in the UDO. We trust that we're going to get some of those outcomes that we talked about. We're still going to look at transportation impacts in the permitting side of things, because that's also now a requirement of the UDO. Stormwater stuff will get captured because those standards have been enhanced in the UDO as well. That gives us a little bit more comfort with some conventional petitions when they kind of meet some of those criteria that we, start out with, and it's consistent overall with that policy map. So that's a little bit of how we look at that and how we go through that process.
That was good. Okay, thank you. And we spoke earlier, and one of the things in our book, it's notated when it's conditional, but it's not notated when it's conventional.
Correct.
So rather than us assuming, if you could help to highlight, I think that would make it easier.
Yeah, we can look at, I know there's tabs that separate each of your petitions in your notebook. Maybe on those tabs next to that petition number, it can just say conventional or conditional. That's something that we, can certainly look into when we print those books out for you. And I think when we send out some of the information, over the weekend that we usually do to help you guys prep, some of that information does also have a column that says if it's conventional or conditional as well. So that's always a place to check, but we can certainly look to see if there's a way we can put those tabs in the notebook that say, CD or conventional or CV or something like that for you guys.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you for listening, your team, you and Allison. I've been talking about QR codes on rezoning signs for a long time, and those are going to be effective this month. So I appreciate the way you all listen.
I'll use that as a plug too. We'll be in front of TPD in September to talk about some of those process improvements that we've got, including some changes to the staff analysis and things we're doing to enhance engagement and notification. So stay tuned for that. It'll probably be some updates in September and then again in October. So
thank you.
Okay, I have Mr. Driggs and then Ms. Brown.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. It's funny, going back over time, it's really complicated. We've had situations where you could do something conventionally, however, it wasn't going to be a gas station or whatever. And the irony to me, too, is the goal of the UDO was to simplify all of this. And we were trying to get to a place where a lot of this was more programmatic. And that level of discomfort, though, still remains that we always had, that you're approving something and you're not quite sure what that could be. And we don't like to let go.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing
okay.
with.
Yeah, it is. That's okay.
But we do have to deal with these as they come to us in the context of where we are with our rules and so on. So they're allowed to apply for a conventional rezoning. And then, of course, it could be up to us to decide whether or not to approve it.
Exactly.
So that's where we are. I'll just leave it at that. But there are more intricacies that I remember that we sometimes get into permitted uses, optional uses, and sort of qualifications in each case. Thanks.
Okay, Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So, Mr. Carmichael, thank you again for coming before us with the petition. I do want to thank Councilmember Johnson for digging deep, though, because I took a lot of good notes here, and I think it's important for us to be able to break down what exactly is happening for those that are watching that may not understand. Sometimes it gets complex with the UDO, and text amendments and all those things. So it's a joy to know that the history that you have, not just in District 3, but as a whole, with working on your petitions, that you are as transparent and you'll go back and forth and you'll dig and you'll do the work. And so it's just a joy to know that. With the District 3 reps, knowing, as representing for the District 3 rep, knowing that the Steel Creek Residents Association is very active in the community, it's good to hear that. So I just wanted to make sure that I understood exactly what was going on. And now I do, so thank you so much. All right. I move to close.
Second.
All right, all in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed?
Thank you.
That is unanimous.
Questions?
Thank
They
you.
helped me a lot.
We will move on to agenda item number 26, petition number 2025-053 by David Poulin. The location is approximately 34.03 acres located north of Albemarle Road, west of Novant Health Parkway, and east of I-485 in the ETJ, closest to Board of County Commissioners, District 4, Mr. Jarrell, as well as Ms. Molina's District 5. The current zoning is B1CD and O2CD. Proposed zoning is B1CD SPA and O2CD SPA. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of requested technical revisions. And after staff's presentation, we have Mr. Pullen with us. Thank you.
Thank you. This site is just over 34 acres on the north side of Albemarle Road in an area where we have quite a few institutional uses as well as some multifamily uses and vacant parcels. This is for a site plan amendment to a plan most recently from 2014. It was petition 2014-069, which was for B1 conditional and O2 conditional zoning for up to 117,000 square feet of medical office uses, as well as some general office, retail, commercial establishment uses, and it has a hospital on the site. So currently built out, we have a Novant Hospital and some medical office along the Albemarle Road frontage. What they are proposing to do is a site plan amendment, which is just modifying within conditional notes and increase the square footage within that B1 conditional portion of the plan along Albemarle Road, the medical office square footage, so increasing that from 37,000 square feet to 59,500. So it's a pretty small change overall, especially when you consider the overall allowed square footage across the site in 2014 was 117,000 square feet. Staff does recommend approval of this petition. It is consistent with the 2040 Policy Map's recommendation for the campus place type. We just have a couple of very minor technical revisions to clean up. This does keep the site's entitlements consistent with what's already approved on the site and allows for continued investment in critical healthcare infrastructure. And I will be happy to take questions after petitioner comments.
Thank you.
Good evening. David Powlin with V3 representing Novant Health, and I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you. Any questions?
Only a comment.
Ms. Molina.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to, again, highlight that this area is the 485 area. And I remember when we were talking about from a land use perspective with favorability and development, this is one of those areas that is based on road use, highway use, proximity to a highway. All of this area has, over the last decade, just exploded with, retail, housing. There are just, developments. But I think the good thing that we see, and especially with putting a hospital there, right, is something additional that the residents in the Far East area can access. But in addition to, now a hospital use, like I said, there are restaurants, there are all of these different amenities that are kind of happening concurrently, which is heartening because, I don't know if you were here earlier, but in another area of what we call the Far East, out by, Plaza Road Extension and Plot Road. They got a very different reality, but my imagination says that those humans, when they need medical service, now they have a place where they don't have to go all the way uptown to get this service. So, I'm just heartened to see some of the developments that are out there, and that's really just the only comment that I have. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's busy out there.
Thank you. Is there a motion to close public hearing? All right, all in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you, sir, for being with us this evening. We will move on to agenda item number 27, petition number 2025-054 by Bispicus Property Group. The location is approximately 1.08 acres located east of Little Rock Road, south of Queen City Drive, and north of I-85 in District 3, Ms. Brown's district. The current zoning is N1A, ANDO, and proposed zoning is CG, ANDO. Staff recommends this petition, and after staff's presentation, we do not have a speaker for this particular agenda item. Thank you. Let's proceed.
All right, petition 2025-054, just a little over an acre, located on the east side of Little Rock Road. Property is currently zoned N1A, ANDO, that's the neighborhood 1 airport noise disclosed overlay. Proposed zoning is CG, ANDO, general commercial airport noise disclosure overlay. 2040 policy map recommends the commercial place type. CG district is consistent with this place type. This is a conventional rezoning petition. There's not an associated site plan and would permit any use allowed in the CG zoning district. Staff recommends approval of this petition as the proposed zoning is consistent with the policy map recommendation. The site's located near I-85 in an area that's dominated by auto-oriented commercial uses, and a rezoning would eliminate residential entitlements on a parcel that may be undesirable for housing due to the high-intensity commercial corridor environment. I'm happy to take any questions following Mr. Fields' presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Fields. My apologies. I had an older version of the speakers list. Of course, welcome, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council and Zoning Committee. I'm Walter Fields, representing the petitioner in this matter. I recall fondly when Mayor McCrory would tell me I had 3 minutes, but I didn't have to use them all, so I won't. We appreciate the staff's assistance in working with us on this petition. This is a little orphan parcel that for some reason got completely surrounded by all sorts of highway-oriented business uses and yet remained with a residential zoning classification. This is sort of a cleanup petition consistent with the adopted plans of the city for this area, and I'll stop at that point and see if there are any questions that I can answer.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or discussion?
Move to close.
Second.
All right. All in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Fields, for joining us this evening. We'll move on to agenda item number 28, petition number 2025-055 by Portia Thomas. The location is approximately 0.52 acres, located north of Parkwood Ave, east of Allen Street, and west of Pegram Street in District 1, my district. The current zoning is NS. Proposed zoning is NCCD. Staff recommends approval of this petition, and after staff's presentation, Ms. Thomas will join us. Thank you.
All right, petition 2025-054 is located on the north side of Parkwood Ave, and it's about just a little over half an acre. Current zoning is NS, Neighborhood Services, which is a conditional zoning district. Proposed zoning is NCCD, Neighborhood Center Conditional. 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 1 place type for the site, and the NC district is inconsistent with this place type, and approval of this petition would revise the policy map to the neighborhood center place type. The proposal permits the development of principal and accessory uses allowed by right and under prescribed conditions in the NC Neighborhood Center Zoning District, but prohibits certain uses that may be incompatible with the surrounding neighborhoods, such as automotive-oriented uses, such as vehicle fueling facilities, dealerships, car rentals, parking lots as a principal use, just as an example. Staff recommends approval of this petition as the current zoning of NS permits a range of uses that are consistent with those allowed in the NC district. The site is in an access to amenities gap as identified by the comp plan, and the NC place type permits or promotes a variety of uses such as retail, restaurant, office, and multifamily that may fill this gap. The site is also served by transit and a short walk from a greenway. I'm happy to take any questions following Ms. Thomas's presentation.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm the owner of Greenberg Properties, and I appreciate being here. I am here for any questions you might have.
Thank you. I just have one question. Sounds like you had some nice participation with the neighborhood meeting. Was there any pushback or concerns that the residents raised?
The biggest feedback, I would say the majority of everyone except for one person. I'd say probably, well, there was a family member there that supported that. They were mostly, the opposition was mostly concerned about just getting a general zoning for the other two parcels. I had an idea for what I was going to do with one parcel. And so they were just concerned that a general rezoning would limit them from having any feedback around what was the intention behind the project. So I reassured them that I was hopeful to be able to work or possibly partner with a builder around this project, so I would be personally involved, and I'm still committed to doing that with the right buyer for this property.
Got it. And did you have any interaction with the neighborhood associations?
The neighborhood association that did push back was the Belmont Association. The Villa Heights Association, which is the neighborhood that it's residing in, were fully supportive.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Any additional questions?
Close.
Second.
All right. All in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands. Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Thomas, for coming out this evening. And that brings us to our final agenda item. Agenda item number 29, petition number 2025-056 by Del Rey at Providence Road West LLC. The location is approximately 10 acres located on the south side of Providence Road West, west of Brinefield Drive, and east of Sandstone Crest Lane and District 7, Mr. Drake's district. Current zoning is N1A. Proposed zoning is N2ACD. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to site and building design. And after staff's presentation, Mr. Brown will close us out. Thank you.
Petition 2025-056 is approximately 10 acres located on the south side of Providence Road West, west of Brinfield Drive and east of Sandstone Crest Lane. The site is mostly wooded and has one single-family dwelling on it. Current zoning is N1A. Proposed zoning is N2A, conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal is for a community of 110 multifamily attached residential units as well as accessory uses. Building height would be limited to 48 feet. Buildings would have a maximum of 5 units per building. Usable porches and stoops would be a predominant feature and would be at least 6 feet in depth. A 25-foot Class B landscape yard will be located along the southern property boundary, and a 10-foot landscape area along the eastern property boundary with 1 evergreen shrub every 5 feet and 1 large maturing or 2 small maturing trees every 50 feet. Street trees will be provided along internal alleys. Petition commits to having all units having access to Providence Road West via an internal sidewalk network. Petition commits to publicly accessible open space that will be amenitized by a menu of elements that may include enhanced plantings, specialty paving materials, shading elements, seating options, public art, interactive elements, and decorative lighting. Implement an 8-foot planting strip and 8-foot sidewalk along the Providence Road West frontage. The site will have 2 access points. Access A will connect to a new north-south public street extending through the site. Providence Road West will be widened to accommodate a westbound left turn lane into the site at Access A, and Access B would be a right-in, right-out onto Providence Road West. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to site and building design. The petition is inconsistent with the policy map recommendation for the N1 place type. However, it's located in an area with a range of multifamily and single-family housing types with pedestrian access to commercial nodes. This petition proposes residential uses consistent with the surrounding development. The site is less than 1 mile from a neighborhood center that includes commercial, medical, and personal service uses. The site is adjacent to developed N2 uses to the east, where adjacent to N1 uses to the south, the petitioner is committed to a 25-foot Class B landscape yard, which exceeds the ordinance required 10-foot Class C landscape yard. I'll take any questions following the petitioner's comments.
Thanks, staff, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, zoning committee members, Colin Brown on behalf of the petitioner, Del Rey. This property literally touches South Carolina, so it is about as far out as we can get on Providence Road West. Appreciate staff's overview. Even though it is inconsistent, if you look at the map, kind of everything fronting Providence Road West is already N2. I think this medium density townhome product makes sense. We appreciate staff support. We continue to have conversation with neighbors. I've got a meeting with adjacent property owner tomorrow, really to talk about the buffer treatment between our site and the single family homes. Joe mentioned we're already exceeding the ordinance standard, so I'm just going to see if there are any site particulars we need to be aware of. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson.
Oh, go ahead, I'll close.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say for the record that this has 110 residential unit, and the impact on schools is Audrey Kell to 152%. When I talk about cumulative impact, we actually have closer to 900 units in this area that would seemingly impact the schools to a higher capacity. So this is the kind of example that I talk about when the residents feel it, although we're looking at them independently. We've looked at 3 petitions, and they all say we'll increase the capacity to 152% at Audrey Kell High School, when it's actually a total of 875 to 900 units that would have a higher impact. And I just think
We're going to confirm that number. I'm not sure if that factors in the new Valentine Ridge High School.
whether the number's right or not, it's the math is not mathing, right? Like, we're using the same number for all of the petitions, and there's a total of 875 units. So when I say cumulative impact, how are we considering, if petition A, B, and C are approved, where are we getting the information on what the actual impact is to the school? Thank you.
Mr. Driggs.
So I will just note, we had a presentation by CMS some time ago about how this actually works and their process. And in fact, the capacity calculation is kind of interesting. You need to study it. It's not just there aren't any more seats. They take the teachers and they take the utilization of the classrooms. But the one thing I would caution against, as I said earlier, was we cannot involve ourselves in the CMS thing. We cannot regulate the growth of the city based on the existing capacity or even the planned capacity of the schools. I think we know there's $2.9 billion in investment that's already underway by CMS, but I just have a concern that we need to stay in our lane, as it were. So we need to think about appropriate land use. CMS and the schools need to figure out how to serve the people that choose to live where they choose to live. Otherwise, we're basically setting ourselves up to allow the growth of the city to be dictated by the capacity of the school system. And it's supposed to be the other way around. The city grows and the school system expands in order to accommodate the growth. So if this is going to be a big issue, we need to study it more carefully, and I suggest that we engage with our colleagues on the school board to, I guess, align what we're seeing with what their plans are, but they do actually have a detailed process for doing this analysis, existing capacity, expected need, and so on. It does have in part to do with the fact that the lead times like, we'll approve something now, it could be 2 or 3 years before that hits. So they are, in fact, looking ahead, and they're saying that in 2 or 3 years, we have to be at such and such a place based on what we know. Anyway, it's a long conversation. I had a bunch of questions I wanted to ask, but I think what I'll do is move to adjourn, to
Okay.
close the hearing and adjourn.
Thank you. Mr. Driggs, I did just want to add to your comment, because we did have CMS come in a while ago, and maybe it might be beneficial to have them come back and present how they do their utilization calculation, as well as some of the new schools that are planned to come online. We've referenced this new high school, Ballantyne Ridge, that we know is planned to be in the pipeline to come online. So perhaps they might have some information to just share with your committee, Mr. Driggs, again, around their utilization calculation and the frequency of it, because they do it a couple times, more often than we initially thought. So we were surprised by that last term, so that might be helpful.
Excuse me, I do just want to add one thing on that.
Ms. Watling.
I want to make sure that we're clear with ourselves and our constituents that it's not the other way around. We don't build and then the school system figure out how to fix it. Part of our responsibility as we consider the factors for zoning is population, and it is anticipated growth, so we don't get in a situation where our schools are overcrowded. That is absolutely within our lane. So I just want to make sure that for those around this dais and those that are listening, that we're clear that our job is to consider population growth and its impact when we're making zoning decisions. We don't leave it to the school system to figure out on the back end.
And can I just say?
Ms. Johnson?
Yeah, and if that's how Mr. Driggs decides to leave, then that's his personal decision. But again, I think it's responsible that we consider the impact on schools and the cumulative impact on infrastructure and all of that. So, we each lead our own way. Thank you.
Thank you. I had a motion to close public hearing.
Yes.
Second.
All right. All in favor of closing public hearing, raise hands.
Yes.
Any opposed? All right. All in favor of adjournment?
Yes.
First, second.
Please go home, and thank you.
Please get out of here.